American Comics, Psychiatrist, Cut Who Wanda Gwen. Author, Simple One. 251. I admire your boldness. With the success of scanning instruments, the globe is scanned. After a while, Loki was overjoyed to see the location displayed. But there's no place for a female Loki, Agent Morbius said. It doesn't matter, we can look at the man's situation first. If he is not strong enough, we can do whatever we want at this point in time. Agent Morbius thought about it. It seems to be true. Then go and see the opponent's strength. Let's go. So the two looked at the position on the scanner, and rushed towards Su Yi's position 5 years ago. And the other side. Hill still waited quietly on the lighthouse in Iceland. She was wearing a cloak, sitting on the wall, looking at the endless sea. Follow her predictions. The people of the Time Administration won't be patient for long. I have been running for so long. It is now established in this universe. And she didn't have to run. Belonging to be stuck in this universe. As long as she leaves this universe, there is no point in running anymore. It's a matter of time before you don't catch it. But this time is the only chance for a turnaround. Hill clasped his hands over his heart and prayed. The other party must be sick, and he doesn't know what to do to provoke the king of the universe. Must. And at this moment, enter the time node of Universe 04 with Mobius Agent and Outsider Loki. Hill was taken aback for a moment, then smiled happily. Why? Because she knows the other party's P-sex. As long as they come in. That would be a shame. If you want to call them arrogant, that's not the case. Because their ability is like this, it is a mistake not to use it. And in the multi-universe, 99.999% of people can't do anything about them. Can freely shuttle timeline and time node. Which superhero can resist? That's why they act recklessly. But they messed with the wrong person today. They messed with Su Yi, who has a silver Superman template. He defies blows from all time and dimensions. After noticing their arrival, Hill also acted immediately. She immediately teleported to the same time node. At the very least, she wanted to ensure that Su Yi would not have any problems. Because Su Yi is very important. It's up to him whether he can unite against the Time Administration. The screen returns. New York timeline 5 years ago. Following the location instructions of the scanner, Agent Mobius and the outsider Luja came to the door of a university library. Looking at the medical university library, the outsider Loki laughed after seeing it. Could it be that he was a doctor before he became a great god? Agent Mobius did not speak. Instead, he took the lead and walked in. As soon as the two entered the library, the boarding staff at the door wore a suit and a robe for the two of them. Obviously coming here is not doing business, so it's like stopping them. After the outsider Loki saw it, he pointed at the employee with his hand. Then the other party sat down with his eyes dimmed. Immediately afterwards, he looked around and changed himself. Then the two began to search in the library according to the scanner and the door of the library. The space fluctuates. A cloaked Hilvi also appears at the library door. She gripped the cloak tightly, hastily and quietly followed in. And inside the library, although it is big here, it is not that big. With the search of the two, they soon found Su Yi at a table by the window. Over there, Su Yi from at the moment leaned back on the chair, with one hand on the side. The Japanese hand started, and he was reading a medical book about PTSD trauma with his legs crossed. After discovering Su Yi, the two looked at each other. What do you say now? Go and have a look? Get in touch? If we contact him now, will he be affected 5 years from now? Agent Mobius shook his head. What has happened will not change again. Even if you kill him now, he will only be affected in the future. But he will not die. Going back in time is going back in time. Time history is history. We are in history, not going back in time. The outsider Loki nodded, expressing his understanding. But he can also look at it more unscrupulously. So the two looked at it. They walked towards Su Yi, who was reading a book together. It wasn't until the two got closer and closer that they found out. Su Yi 5 years ago and Su Yi 5 years later have not changed at all. What they saw seemed to be him 5 years later. Nothing has changed. At the moment Agent Mobius already sensed that something was wrong, but Loki has already walked to the opposite side of Su Yi, and pulled out the chair and sat down. Then he can only keep up. At the same time, a silent figure also followed. Among the crowd, Hill saw the two walking towards Su Yi, and the outsider Loki has already pulled away the chair opposite Su Yi and sat down. No, see here. Hill quickly squeezed out of the crowd and walked towards the opponent. She couldn't let the Time Management Bureau contact the current Su Yi. If something goes wrong along the way, then there is no hope for her. Ignore them. Hill shouted as he squeezed out. And in front of Su Yi, outsider Loki just sat down. He straightened his suit and didn't speak yet. And Agent Mobius has already pulled the chair away, but hasn't sat down yet. At the moment heard Hill dimensional words. The two turned their heads at the same time and looked at Hill. For a moment, there was joy on the faces of the two of them. Their ultimate goal is right in front of their eyes. What could be more joyful than this? Now found someone again. Mission accomplished again. Just grab this Hill dimension. After repairing this universe, You can go back to claim the mission reward. As for Su-Yi, who will not allow them to touch the universe after 5 years. What does he do? What can he do now? I'm here to fix the universe. 5 years from now you will not know what is happening now. That is, without anyone noticing. This is the ability of the Time Administration. Even if you are a god, the Time Bureau can also rely on time against you. Catch her, Agent Mobius yelled. Loki put his hands on the table and stood up again. There was a magic move on him. The original black suit has become a green robe again. You really made it easy for us to find, Miss Loki. The two each drew their weapons. Prepare to arrest Hilvi. But Hill-dimensional even so. He also didn't forget to shout at Su-Yi. I have to escape, but please remember, people from the Time Management Bureau must not believe it. You'll see them again in 5 years. You must not trust them. For the stability of the timeline, they will eliminate all possibilities that cause the timeline to change. Must remember. As he spoke, Hilway turned around and prepared to run away. It is impossible to beat it. The Time Administration gear is just too good to be true. There is nothing in her body that can be used to attack. That can't beat the agents of the Time Administration. So she could only remind Su-Yi. Remind Su-Yi now to remember that moment 5 years from now. They have now ignored the warnings and are looking for flaws in historical nodes. So in front of the stability of the timeline, they are not believable at all. Not at all believable. Catch her. Don't let her run away. Agent Mobius took out his time pistol and immediately prepared to arrest Hilvi. He directly adjusted the pistol to a 1/64th time slowdown. In this way, as long as the bullet hits Hilwi, everything about her will be slowed down 64 times. Agent Mobius pulled the trigger. Bang tilde. A bullet engraved with 64-1 is fired from the muzzle, head straight for Hillville. And Hilwi opened his eyes slightly, because she was too close to remind Su-Yi. Within 10 meters, the gun's accurate and fast characteristics made it impossible for her to dodge. So I can only watch the bullets shoot at myself. Available at this moment. They seem to have forgotten why they were in the library. Who are they looking for? Crack, at this time, appeared with a crisp finger snap. The crowds in the library stopped. The bullets in the air stopped. Loki's gesture of preparing to use magic stopped, and Agent Mobius's gun movement also stopped. At the moment only Hill can move and the whole world. And the person who snapped his fingers, Su-Yi. Parter closed the medical book for PTSD. Su-Yi sighed, looked at the backs of the two and explained. To be honest, I admire your courage and boldness! Exclamation mark. The moment this sentence appeared, Agent Mobius, Outsider Loki, and Hilvi all stared wide-eyed. 252. Time Administration agent dies. They should pay the price. In fact, Su-Yi also knew that the other party might come looking for him. But it's not absolute. So he is waiting. And the Time Management Bureau can do whatever it wants because it can manipulate time. So they can do anything on the timeline. As long as it does not affect the normal development of the timeline, they can do whatever they want. Then this is what Su-Yi is willing to wait for. On the premise of not making mistakes, Su-Yi can ignore what the Time Administration has done, provided you are not stupid. But you have come to me 5 years ago. Are you sure you mean well? How can it be? This was originally ignoring what Su-Yi said. Don't move the timeline. But now that they're moving, that's too bad. And after hearing Su-Yi's words, the three people present all stared wide-eyed. The most shocking of them all was Agent Mobius. He couldn't move his body, but his eyes were wide open, carrying an incredible and shocking gaze. This is impossible. How could he know this? Isn't this him 5 years ago? Why did he say this? He also traveled back? Wrong. He didn't pass through. This is his inner thought at the moment. But more, fear. Yes, it is fear. Because in all his previous free will, this kind of thing has never happened. But today it happened suddenly, and they can't move yet. What exactly happened here? Hilwi on the side saw this. She moved her hands, but she could move anyway. She looked around, and then took a step to bypass the 64 time decelerating bullet. Then she looked at Su-Yi with doubts in her eyes, as if asking, how is this going? How did you do it? She wanted to ask these two sentences, but could not. The more you know, the worse it may be for her. After thinking about it briefly, Hilwi pointed at the two of them, meaning to ask what to do. Su-Yi looked at her. She put her hand in front of her neck and waved. I mean kill it. I understand everything. Because they have already found Su-Yi, so it means they are uneasy and kind. So it's ready to kill. Once malice arises, then there is no need to wait until you come to provoke me. There is no need. Just kill me directly. Save trouble. And after seeing Hill's gesture, both Agent Mobius and the outsider Loki have terrified expressions. Among them, Agent Mobius quickly closed his eyes as if he was preparing for something. At the same time, Su-Yi nodded his head with a thought. With a burst of space fluctuations, a miniature phoenix suddenly appeared in the depths of the outsider Loki's eyes. Then his eyes turned red. Boom tilde. The whole person suddenly exploded like a bursting firework. Then it vanished into nothingness in an instant. It wasn't just the outsider Loki who exploded at the same time, and Agent Mobius by his side. But he closed his eyes. But he couldn't see the fire phoenix in his eyes. But it's okay. Next moment, fiery red light is about to burst out from his 7 orifices. At the moment Agent Mobius' eyes, nostrils, mouth, and ears were all glowing red. As long as the firework explodes, he will immediately turn into an exploding balloon and bloom in an instant before turning into nothingness. But with a flash of red light, Agent Mobius was suddenly enveloped by a void of space. A clock appeared above his head. Time is also extremely slowed down. This caused the red light not to bloom immediately. Yi saw it, and he smiled, ready to push harder. But the next moment, as a crack opened around Agent Mobius, his body was sucked in instantly. This look is the handwriting of the Time Administration, planning to take away its agents. As for why not save that outsider Loki, they all said they were outsiders. No need. No. After Hela saw the crack in time, she quickly reached out to stop it. Yi saw that Agent Mobius was really going to be taken away. He smiled, and John went to the medical book in his hand. As soon as the book is closed, there was a sudden noise in the crack of time, and it was accompanied by a flash of red light. The time rift is also closed. Next moment, in Hill's silly Yan Yi, around time began to roll again. The crowd in the library began to change from static to dynamic. Some continued to communicate in low voices, some turned the pages and began to read, and some looked for the books they wanted to read in front of the bookshelves. Time became normal again, and it was as if everything just never happened again. Hila was dumbfounded for a moment. Then he looked at Suikai and asked suspiciously, "Did he be taken away, or was he blown up inside?" Sui closed the book and put his hands on the seat. "You can go in and have a look." Hila immediately shook his head. Look at a hammer. She wished that all those things that despised humanity in the Time Administration would be wiped out. What did she do wrong? She did nothing wrong. But she was born doomed to be deprived of the right to live. This is not contempt. What is this? Just because she is weak, the Time Administration can ignore her, right? Hill Dimensional is very clear about this. So she wished that everyone in the Time Management Bureau would die for me. But then again, after seeing this ending, Hill happily came in front of Sui. Then he pulled out the chair and sat down and said slightly excitedly, "How did you do it? You are now the same as you were 5 years ago, but you can actually know what will happen 9 years from now. Is it a prophecy? No. How can a prophecy know the future and today's things? Even Time Gem can't do it." "Then how do you know?" "I'm curious." That's right. It was obviously Sui who knew about such things 5 years later. But how could Sui say those words 5 years ago? Doesn't that mean he knows? "How did you do that?" Facing Hill Dimensional curiosity, Sui shook his head slightly. "Even if I tell you, you won't be able to understand. So you just need to know that the me on the timeline is the latest me. The me on the timeline is the latest me." This sentence was a bit incomprehensible at first. But think about it carefully. Hill was stunned. "That is to say, if you become a little stronger 5 years later, then the you 5 years ago will also become the same strong at the same time?" "You're only a little bit right, not quite." Sui stood up, ready to return the book in his hand. And Hill kept following. "Not completely." Sui looked for the bookshelf and continued. "Lisa, at the same time, the me you see on any timeline is the latest me. There is no difference. There is no future me, and there is no historical me. As long as I am on the timeline, it is the latest me under the operation of time." As soon as this statement came out, in the shock of Hill Dimensional, she finally understood what Sui meant. That is to say, no matter what timeline or time point, Sui is Sui, neither new nor old. He is him. No exceptions. At the moment Hill Dimensional finally figured it out. A farewell to the lighthouse last night. Why Sui just smiled and didn't speak. It turns out that people really have confidence. It doesn't matter at all. If you don't believe me, come and try. So it is. Under Hill's respectful gaze, Sui found the location of the medical book in his hand, and reached out and returned the book. And after watching Sui's actions, Hill was silent for a while, and finally said, "What kind of consequences should the Time Management Bureau suffer?" "They ignore your majesty so much." 253. You put the universe at home? The meaning of the Time Administration. After putting the medical book back, facing Hill's question, Sui said while walking towards the rest area, "Do you know where the headquarters of the Time Administration are?" Hill shook his head. "I don't know." "Do you know how big the body of the Time Administration is?" Hill still shook his head. "I don't know." "Do you know the significance of the existence of the Time Administration?" Hill shook his head numbly. "I don't know." When it comes to this, Sui has come to the chair in the rest area and sat down. Hill stood aside. "I don't know whether to sit or stand." "Sit down," Sui said. Hill sat aside. Then the above 3 questions and 3 don't know. She searched all the information in her mind and explained. "I just know that the Time Administration is responsible for the proper functioning of all universe timelines. As long as there is an error or change in any of the timelines of the universe, the agent of the Time Management Bureau will come to correct it and remove all variable factors. That's how I got arrested." Hear this sentence. Sui knew that she knew too little about the Time Management Bureau. What you know is one side of one side. Now I'll tell you what they really mean. Hear, hear. Hill's eyes widened. Immediately said respectfully, "Thank you very much. But don't worry. 137 Go back first, and come to me at the normal time? Hill is a little curious. Why do we have to go to the normal time node to talk about this matter? It doesn't matter. She didn't believe that Su-Yi was the one who made such a fuss. Su-Yi looked at her and smiled helplessly. No way. Everyone wants to hear it too. 11. For a moment, Hill's eyes were dull. His mouth opened again and again, and he didn't know what to say. What? Why? Such a powerful man, yet such a wife? Is there any reason for this? Why did God open all the windows for him? People open one door and close the other. Why do you have floor-to-ceiling windows on all sides? Thousands of words flashed through Hill's heart for a moment. In the end, it only converges into 2 words. Okay. Su-Yi waved his hand, signaling her to leave. The present time is still history, so Su-Yi doesn't care. But Hill needs to go back. So Hill nodded, took a few steps back, and prepared to return to the normal timeline. And in the normal timeline world, in the northern building, Su-Yi leaned on the bed and opened his eyes. He smiled at the 2 women who were watching. Now you understand why it's useless for the Time Management Bureau to find me. Do you understand the gold content of Silver Superman? All the past is useless to Silver Superman, as long as his current strength improves. It's like he was born to be so strong. There is no process of becoming stronger, only the end result. Amazing tilde. And after Gwen understood, she looked at Su-Yi with admiration. And you were so handsome when you made the 2 of them explode just now. How did you do that? The 7 orifices emit fiery red light. Then the whole person is like an ignited balloon. Boom, and turn into nothingness. This is too handsome. It doesn't seem to be magic. Wanda also guessed. It seems to be your ability. Takumi? That's right. Su-Yi nodded and dragged with one hand. It's just a part of ability. I ignited his heart, and he was like a firework. Su-Yi spoke up. Gwen threw herself on top of him and hugged him. What a waste, tilde. She leaned on Su-Yi with half of her body. Then he rubbed against Su-Yi sideways. Finally a few mouthfuls. Su-Yi seriously suspected that she wasn't boasting about it. She just wanted to stick and kiss. Wanda rolled her eyes when she saw this. Small green tea. Crack, tilde. Su-Yi patted Gwen's smooth and round little village. Get up and wash up quickly. Hill is coming. Don't you still want to talk to her? Well, get up. Wanda and Gwen nodded. Then they all got up, dressed and washed. After a while, the 3 of them finished washing. Gwen asked after getting dressed and straightening her hair. Then where shall we meet her? Wanda thought about it. Forget it, at home. Don't we have to give her a task? Anyway, at that time, she will be counted as subordinates, similar to Cindy, Mdai, and Penny. Gwen thought about it too, but she still looked at Su-Yi. How to say? Just stay at home. Su-Yi said it didn't matter. The Time Management Bureau cannot be completely destroyed, otherwise the multi-universe will be even more chaotic, but this does not mean that there are no other ways to deal with it. What way? Gwen was immediately curious. You'll find out later. The Time Bureau does matter. Definitely, is important in the stability of the multi-universe. Every multi-universe will have a time administration, which is inevitable. That is, there must be a Conqueror Kang. So the Time Management Bureau cannot be destroyed directly, otherwise the entire multi-universe will become chaotic and troubles will be everywhere. And trouble is something Su-Yi doesn't want to see. So he has a solution. Any solution? You can't do it. Some people can do it. Su-Yi looked at Wanda. Let's prepare some fruit snacks. Everyone didn't have breakfast, and we will eat and chat in the small universe later. Wanda nodded. Okay, I am coming too. So Wanda and Gwen went into the kitchen to prepare food. At the same time, downstairs in the north building, Hila came here wearing a cloak according to the instructions, but she just stood there, because she doesn't know what to do. Want to go up, or where to go? But at the time of her hesitation, Su-Yi's soft voice came from her mind. Come on, top floor. Good. Hila responded, but Su-Yi's voice was gone. Here. Hil tightened his cloak. Then follow the directions to the elevator in the north building. Into the elevator. None of her order. The elevator runs automatically and goes up to the top floor. Wait until the elevator arrives. She came to the only gate, Parter. The door also opened by itself. Hil opened the door cautiously, poked his head out first, then walked in with his body exposed. Change your shoes. Su-Yi's voice came from inside. Hil looked down at the side. The shoes of Wanda, Gwen, Hela, and Su-Yi are all beside them. And there are other public slippers. All ladies. Men only have Su-Yi's own slippers, because men in his family are not allowed to enter. Only women can enter. Well, the unwritten rule. Fortunately, there is no foot odor. Hila muttered inwardly. Then I changed my shoes and went in. As soon as she comes in, I saw Wanda and Gwen really walking towards the small universe carrying the coils. So she looked in the direction of the small universe. Then I was stunned. Why? Because the edge of a wall of Su-Yi's house is directly a window to the universe. Blue mist spreads around the edge of this wall. This is the entrance and exit of the universe. You put the universe at home? I knock. How is this done? Metaphorically speaking, this is equivalent to putting a skid in your house and turning a wall into an entrance and exit. This is so shocking. Hil was stunned. Gwen looked at her strangely, beckoned and said, Why are you stunned? Come in, let's go to the small universe to eat and chat. Sue wants to give you a great task and opportunity. Perform well. 254. You control the Time Management Bureau. Thoughts damp. With unparalleled shock, Hill followed Wanda and Gwen into the small universe. But before entering the small universe, she also carefully looked at the edge of the entrance to the small universe. The billowing blue mist is caused by the collision of the edges when the two space-times intersect. This can be placed directly at home, and it's so stable. Is this too stupid? But after entering the small universe, well, Hill was shocked again. She looked at the mountains and the landscape in the distance. There is also the sky above and the endless space as far as the eye can see. This is a serious universe. Put a universe at home as a back garden? How much strength does this have to do? This. Hill couldn't figure it out. She can only be shocked. Wait until she looks straight ahead again. Suyi was already lying on the deck chair in front of the lawn garden. Wanda and Gwen put breakfast and snacks on the table. Everyone's chairs form a circle, a wooden table in the middle. Wait until everyone is ready. Sit down. Suyi's voice came from the couch. This is obviously for Hill to sit down. She hurried over and sat down. At the moment Suyi was sitting next to Gwen and Wanda, and sitting opposite him was Hill. Saw the food being served. Suyi sat up, took a bite of the watermelon with a fork and began to speak. Do you want to know all the information of the time administration? Yeah. Hill nodded heavily. Put your forehead out? ? Hear Suyi's words. Hill was stunned for a moment, but still obediently leaned forward and stretched out his forehead. Suyi raised his hand and touched Hill's forehead. He was too lazy to introduce them one by one. It would be better to give her most of the time management information. And Wanda and Gwen already knew. Hill felt the knowledge in his mind. She closed her eyes and began to digest. Wait until you have a quick look at all the materials you have written. Hill suddenly opened his eyes and exclaimed. Each multi-universe has a time authority and Kang the Conqueror? Yes. Suyi nodded. Then what should we do? We can't deal with all the time management bureaus, can we? Hill felt a little uncomfortable. So much for time management, although only one of them has provoked them. But if one is moved, the others will be troublesome in the future. How to do this? There are infinite number of universes in each multi-universe, and each multi-universe has a time administration. What the hell? Where is the nesting doll? Facing Hill's irritability, Wanda and Gwen smiled. Then have you ever thought that we just need to change the time administration of our multi-universe? Gwen laughed. Hill thought for a while, but was a little confused. What's the meaning? Wanda and Gwen looked at Suyi. Hill also looked at Suyi. Suyi ate a mouthful of watermelon, looked at Hill and said, actually, you have never thought about whether the existence of the Time Management Bureau is right or wrong. It's what caused you to be like this. Is the time administration wrong, or the person who controls the time administration is wrong? For a moment, Hill suddenly realized. All this is the work of Kang the Conqueror? Suyi raised his eyebrows. The meaning is self-evident. In fact, there is nothing wrong with the existence of the Time Management Bureau. What's wrong with it? To fix the timeline. For the stability of the multi-universe, it is right to fix the timeline. But the point is, something went wrong with the people behind it. Short name, random repair. So it wasn't the time administration that was wrong. It is the existence behind the time administration. At the moment Hill also understood this truth. Then we're going to kill Kang the Conqueror? Asked Hill. Is it useful to kill? Suyi smiled. There are plenty of time management bureaus. Conqueror Kang is gone, and there will be Conqueror King, Conqueror Lee, and Conqueror B. Do you think you can solve the problem just by killing people? Use the mind of your god of trickery, combine the information I gave you, and think about it carefully. What method can be used to make the universe more stable and at the same time, there will be no more troubles? Hear Suyi's words. Hill was lost in thought. He is not a fool. He will take care of his daughter-in-law seriously. And according to Suyi's words, then the Time Management Bureau definitely cannot be destroyed directly, because it doesn't make sense to just destroy, and if it is directly destroyed, there will be more troubles. This is like how bad a country is. Those who overthrow its rule will not destroy the country, but establish another government. So simple destruction is not advisable, as long as you understand the concept. So what to do? The answer is already clear. Hill had a flash of inspiration. The people in the time administration should be replaced. The time administration should be reorganized, and Kang the Conqueror should die. That's right. ... Seeking flowers. Suyi nodded in satisfaction. But there's one more problem. ? How do you make sure the next batch of managers doesn't make the same mistakes? Hill thought about it again. Put on your own. Suyi looked at her with a smile. Only then did Hill suddenly realize. It turned out to be so. The time administration does not move, but replace all the managers of the Time Management Bureau with our own people. This will solve all problems. At that time, not only will there be no unnecessary troubles, there will be even more convenience. It turns out it can still be like this. But here comes the problem again. After Hill calmed down, he looked at everyone and asked, then who shall we replace? Suyi kept smiling. Wanda looked at Hill with a smile. So did Gwen. Hill looked at the smiles everyone was looking at him. The three of Suyi did not speak. Hill was taken aback. She suddenly panicked. I can't deal with the time administration. I can give you the ability, Suyi said lightly. I can't manage well. It doesn't matter, as long as the multi-universe is running, said lightly. Hill is stuck in New Aya. But let's be honest. What Suyi said was very touching. No, it's very exciting. Destroying the Time Administration would only deflate Hill, but controlling the Time Bureau will make Hillway especially cool. It's called murder. So Hill is very, very excited. But she is afraid of many worries. Yi can solve the problems of strength and management for her. But there was one more thing that worried her. Don't worry about who? Don't worry about herself. But I'm not one of your own. Hillway finally voiced her biggest fear. After saying this sentence, Hillway looked at everyone's faces, especially Yi's. But what she didn't expect was even more. Yi smiled softly, flipped over with one hand, and a seal appeared on his palm. Then he spoke softly again. It's very simple. As long as you swear not to betray me when you print it on your body, we will trust you completely. Under Hill's surprised eyes, Yi was injured and was holding thought stamp for 255. Wronged Hela. Promise and timeline. The appearance of the ideological seal is a seal. But what it imprints is not the body, but the soul. As long as you voluntarily be marked by this stamp, then this soul will always be loyal to the owner of the stamp. That is Yi. So the operation of making the Hill dimension itself is very simple. Will it be stamped? Meeting. Swearing in? Meeting. That's it. As long as you do it, it will be done. It's that simple. Definitely. Only if you mean it. It can't be backstabbing in your head and swearing in your mouth. But for Yi, to put it bluntly, she just doesn't trust Hill. First, why does he believe it? Are the two very familiar, or do they know each other well? Second, even if he trusts Hill, why does Nilewhite trust Yi completely? Are you sure there will be no small tricks? Third, he is the god of trickery. 99% trust means no trust. Yi needs 100% trust to do it. So in summary, you have to bear the seal of thought before you can be trusted. Cover with oath. Then everyone is their own. But in the face of Yi's request, Hillway looked at the steel seal on his hand and Yi's oath request. Never betray Yi, strictly speaking. 847. This is totally fine if Hill Dimensional succeeds in controlling the Time Administration. So how can there be any reason to betray or not betray? When the time comes, all her things will be given by Yi. In other words, Yi is her patron father. Wouldn't it be the end of the game without the Gold Master father? So after thinking about it carefully, Hillway nodded heavily in agreement. No problem. Immediately afterwards, Hillway immediately asked, where is the cover? How do you take the oath? The ideological stamp is the same everywhere. As long as the opponent covers it without resistance, the effect will naturally occur. As for the oath, in fact, it is the same whether it is declared or not. Yi only cared about the steel seal. Anywhere will do. Just the back of your hand. The content of the oath is very simple. Just look into my eyes and repeat the content of the oath I just said. Hillway stretched out the back of his hand immediately after hearing it. Yi raised his hand, ready to cover it. And Hillway also looked into Yi's eyes and said seriously, I swear, Hill Velodinson, that I will never betray Yi. After finishing speaking, Yi's thought stamp was stamped. Pat tilde. After covering, feel the effect of the steel seal has been used successfully. Yi raised his hand, threw the stamp back into the system space, and looked at Hill's reaction. Wanda and Gwen also watched Hill. Everyone wanted to see how she would react. Under the gaze of everyone, the result was no response. The only response, it was Yi with sharp eyes who noticed that Hillway's pupils dilated, and then returned to normal. All this is but a moment's work. After Hillway took the oath, he looked at Yi and said respectfully, thank you very much for your trust. Feel the other person's state of mind and loyalty from the soul. Yi replied with a smile, it should be mutual trust. Hillway nodded and didn't say anything more about trust. Because of loyalty from the soul, mutual trust has been turned into a subtle degree. Words are no longer needed. What do I do next? Hillway asked. It's very simple. Yi looked at her. First kill those who will not be obedient, such as some justices, and Kang the Conqueror. DJ, I know. Hill still wants to say what to write. Yi directly interrupted what she was saying. Immediately afterwards, he pulled it out of the void. He directly took out the remaining fake Black Death sword. Then he kicked out the evil thoughts in the sword face to face. Finally threw the sword to Hillway and said, with it, all creatures that can be hacked by you will die. Even Kang the Conqueror is no exception. Hillway catches the Black Death sword. Even if the evil thoughts in the Black Death sword have disappeared, but the killing intent on the sword still made Hillway feel a little creepy just by holding it. It's definitely not a sword, not even just artifacts, but a weapon with will. It's so pure. Simply put, kill. After feeling the killing intent in the sword, Hillway simply put it away. The Black Death sword immediately turned into black water and melted into Hill's body. All this does not need words to describe. Trust is trust. No need to stress. Is that enough? Yi asked. Enough. Hill nodded heavily. She is the god of tracks, the great demon mage. With this one-hit near-death weapon, she has countless ways to kill creatures even stronger than her. Yi nodded in satisfaction. Very well. You can act. Hillway stood up. But before you go, Yi reminded, my help to you will definitely not be limited to these. To bring achievements, I will give you better rewards. Hillway stared blankly when he heard it. She looked in front of Yi's eyes and assured her, most definitely. Immediately afterwards, she disappeared into the small universe of Yi's house. Wanda and Gwen see now, until Hillway left. Wanda just commented, very good thug. She will definitely do this well. Gwen nodded in agreement. The determination is firm. That's right. In Hill's eyes, it can be seen how much she attaches to this task. The time administration must be replaced. Sue and the two just finished talking. Little Hela ran over from the entrance of the small universe and said angrily, I feel the breath of the Black Death sword on the woman who left just now. You don't give me the remaining sword you gave her, I'll bite you to death. Hela swooped and opened her mouth to bite Su-Yi. Su-Yi grabbed her cheek from the air. Then looking at the little Hela who was struggling in his hand, he said helplessly, your family is holding it to do big things. What's the use of holding it? Chopping cauliflower? Watching her have something to say, Su-Yi let go of his hand. Who knew that as soon as he let go, Hela grabbed his hand and took a bite before speaking. Whose are you talking about? I'm going to kill 32. Okay, this is the closest. I wanted to ask you for this sword, but you gave it to someone else, a woman I just met not long ago. Little Hela has been hungry for that sword for too long. She wanted that sword from the beginning. It would be fine if that sword was given to Wanda. And now Su-Yi gave it to another woman. And it's not the three women Cindy, Penny, and Madeline. This made Hela very angry, even very wronged. Okay, I see. Seeing that Hela's eyes were red with grievance, she almost shed tears. Su-Yi pinched her face. I want to wipe her tears away. Crack, who knew little Hela pouted and slapped his hand away. It's definitely not worse than the Black Death sword. Don't worry. As soon as Su-Yi finished speaking, little Hela immediately stared at Su-Yi closely. Real? Who have I lied to? Then what you said, Tilda. Hearing this sentence, little Hela immediately held Su-Yi's hand up and puffed. Q Tilda. Then put it on his face and smiled. Then you can play. Now do you want to? Su-Yi pinched her face. The tears pinched by little Hela almost came out before he let go. Go back and play games. I'll give it to you when I have it. Then I'm leaving. Ever since, little Hela rushed over angrily, bounced back only a few minutes before and after. But Gwen and Wanda couldn't help laughing, and their shoulders shook. That's all. Finished breakfast. Everyone was playing for a while. Waited until dark. The weekend passed so easily and happily. In the master bedroom, Su-Yi galloped his horse. Well, one person rides two horses. The next day, Gwen went to school with everyone in the Spider League as usual. Wanda sleeps in every day. Cybertron is functioning normally. Su-Yi went to work as usual. Sit in your office. Su-Yi was bored watching the news. He brushed for a long time. Didn't see any interesting news either. It was only then that Su-Yi came to his senses. Marvel's plot. It seems that 1.6 will be finished by me. Su-Yi had the final say. After the shape-shifting King Kong and the Annihilation Zerg are finished, once Thanos dies, the plot is really over. Silver Guardian 3 doesn't even know what's going on. This was before he crossed over. Su-Yi thought about it, but still didn't want to. Whatever it is. Anyway, check in and you're done. As long as he gets stronger and stronger, he can live normally every day. But when it comes to punching cards, Su-Yi also remembered that he hadn't checked in for a long time. I didn't even look at many of the previous rewards. So Su-Yi said silently, view historical check-in rewards. Ding tilde. Check-in successfully tilde. Obtain, leave no text 10. Obtain, Heaven and Earth deviate from Pizzy style middle. Deviate sword X1. Obtain, DC Universe Gate X1. Get, Phoenix Force X1. Obtain, Infinity Gauntlet X1 full of gems. There are many rewards for punching cards, but that's all. Such as the full Phoenix Force, such as the Infinity Gauntlet full of gems, such as DC. Wait, DC's Universe Gate, DC World, Superman, 256. DC Universe, Coma Woman, DC Universe. Su-Yi just opened up here. Smallville, Kansas is a small town with beautiful scenery and fresh air. Newly acquainted neighbors always like to come to his psychiatric consultation room to chat with him. Sue, not many people here are willing to see a doctor. I think you should change places. What do you think of our school? Clark Kent warmly invited Su-Yi. Su-Yi looked at Clark Kent expressionlessly. Is Superman such a character? Sure enough, reality is different from imagination. I really want to stuff his mouth with something. After all, Clark Kent has been whispering in his ear for half an hour, over and over again, without nutrition. I really think you can think about it. Our school will welcome you. Su-Yi opened a book casually, looked at it casually, and said casually, sorry, I'm not interested. He is not short of money, and he does not need to have a lot of patience. Although the school is a place full of people, in order to avoid people coming to see a doctor for various reasons from time to time, which will affect his off-duty time, he absolutely forbids workplaces like schools. 07. My fee is very high. I'm afraid the school can't afford me. As he spoke, Su-Yi casually reported a number that was enough to make Clark Kent shut up. Clark Kent scratched the back of his head. I didn't expect you, Sue, to be so valuable. By the way, I've always been very curious about which one is your girlfriend, Miss Gwen or Miss Wanda, and the neighbors are very curious. After one question ended, another question reappeared. Su-Yi rolled his eyes. These neighbors are really curious. But he was troubled in his heart. Presumably Gwen and Wanda, who went out with their neighbors early in the morning, were also troubled. Since I came to this world, I have been living a peaceful life. Such troubles can actually be regarded as sweet troubles. Actually, I have been worrying about one thing. Clark Kent hadn't noticed the fact that he was actually annoying. He has always wanted to find someone to have a good chat with. But the family members around him are very worried about him, and he doesn't want to bother them, so he can only find this reliable neighbor. My identity is an alien. After saying this, Clark Kent stared at Soo-Yi quickly. He wanted to see how Soo-Yi would react like this. However, Soo-Yi just yawned without any reaction. It's not that Soo-Yi didn't respond, it's just that he already knew what Clark Kent's identity was. Because of the relationship with Phoenix Force, he can feel the other party's anxiety, fear, and hope that someone can comfort him. But he is not the father of the other party. Why should he comfort the child? Clark? He waved his hand. Okay, it's getting late, you should go back. It's almost time for him to get off work. It's only 4:30. For Clark Kent, the time is very early, but for Clark Kent, this time is very delicate. Especially when I saw Gwen and Wanda walking towards this side holding hands. Smelly brat, don't disturb our three-person world. Soo-Yi threw a book in his hand to Clark Kent directly. Go back and read it. Remember to return it to me after you finish reading it. Clark Kent looked down at the very thin book in his hand, then raised his head to glance at Soo-Yi not far away, greeted Gwen and Wanda, and left with a confused heart. Sue, you gave the kid a book? Yeah, a book that would allow him to save the most important people. Soo-Yi couldn't help but smile when he thought of Clark Kent's future. He didn't laugh at it, but felt that some things could be changed, so there was no need to worry too much. Gwen and Wanda knew that Soo-Yi would never do anything excessive. They believed in him. After all, he was omnipotent. Through everything that Soo-Yi has done in the past, they are convinced of this point. They looked at Soo-Yi. Soo-Yi still had a gentle appearance. Even the curvature of the corners of his lips did not change at all. It was so mysterious, so heart-pounding. Gwen and Wanda have been by Soo-Yi's side for a long time. They know how attractive this man is. By the way, we seem to have forgotten one thing. Suddenly Wanda exclaimed. Yeah, I almost forgot too. Gwen suddenly tensed up too. Soo-Yi frowned and looked at them, then looked down at the time. If you have anything to say, let's go back and talk about it. It's exactly 5 o'clock. You can get off work. Soo-Yi habitually said silently. Sign in. Successful check-in. Reward. Dry branch X3. Simply outrageous. Forget it. It's just a casual attitude anyway. In short, it's off work now. It's off work time, so I should be happy. Soo-Yi put aside the outrageous rewards he got for signing in, and walked very briskly. But when he got home and saw what Wanda and Gwen said they had forgotten, his expression suddenly fell silent. The one thing you said you forgot is saving a person. Looking at the woman in the guest room who was lying on the bed in a leather coat and whose life or death was unknown, Soo-Yi spoke in a low voice. We originally planned to send her to the hospital, but we thought that you are also a doctor. There's still a huge difference between a psychologist and a surgeon and a physician. Soo-Yi glanced at the woman lying on the bed. Forget it. Since this woman is very beautiful, it's not important to save 677. Did you not treat her wound? Soo-Yi stretched out his finger and checked it roughly. The wound didn't look like it had been treated. I originally wanted to bandage her, but I couldn't find the medicine box at home. Gwen said embarrassedly. Besides, didn't we make an appointment with you? Although she wasn't bandaged, I took a quick look and found that her willpower is very strong and she won't die in a short time. Wanda spoke indifferently. People like them, as long as they leave a breath, they will never die, so what is there to be afraid of? The girl who was rescued by them is not from common at first glance, so there is no need to worry. Mission. I will definitely complete the mission. When several people were discussing around the bed, the person lying on the bed suddenly spoke. However, it was just subconsciously talking in sleep, and did not really wake up. What mission? Gwen checked the other party, and said curiously, it seems that this is also a very storytelling person. Anyway, feed her some water first, and then bandage her wound. Soo-Yi brought the medicine box over, and then motioned for Gwen and Wanda to do it. 257. Fiona deserves a beating for saving a white-eyed wolf. Now that the medicine kit was in hand, Gwen and Wanda naturally didn't say anything. They quickly helped the girl lying on the bed up. The opponent's wound was too serious, and it was entangled with the leather jacket. The clothes have to be cut off, but it hurts. It's all hurt like this. Where can the pain go? Wanda was not polite, and directly tore off all the clothes of the other party at once, and they didn't even shy away from Soo-Yi when doing this. Soo-Yi was stunned by their bold actions, but soon he laughed again. When you are doing this, you really can't treat me as a ... Sue, although you are very philandering, we know that you have always been so philandering, and you won't fall in love with women casually. Yes, as long as you don't have the slightest thought for this girl. Even if the girl is naked in front of you, you won't have the slightest reaction. Gwen and Wanda are full of trust in Soo-Yi. There are so many women around Soo-Yi, it's natural that the two of them can stand out from the crowd. They will not take ordinary women seriously, nor will they feel jealous because of it. Soo-Yi was a little moved by what they said, but at the same time he felt a little guilty. It's not that he doesn't have thoughts about girls, it's just that he likes to be poor and fastidious. Some of these wounds look like burning wounds, some are knife wounds, and some are wounds from hot weapons. Such identities are obviously not simple. Where did you find them? From a lawn. Wanda said naturally. When we rescued the person, we considered that the other person might be a bad person. Just kill her directly, there will be no hindrance. For Wanda, killing people is easy and familiar. Let's not talk about killing people casually. Yi thought it was funny, but he liked such an arrogant and confident Wanda even more. Gwen and Wanda were very fast, treating all the wounds on the woman's body in one go. They bandaged the girl very quickly, and in one day only the girl's face was left. After finishing all this, Gwen pinched the woman's chin to see her appearance clearly. It's really beautiful, it doesn't lose to me and Wanda. Sue, you really won't feel moved till the vertical bar? I don't even know who she is. He doesn't like any cat or dog that he picks up casually on the side of the road. But the people who will appear in this small town, and the people who have suffered such serious injuries, are not easy no matter how you look at it. If Yi wanted to, he could know the identity of the other party at any time, but Yi didn't do it because it was unnecessary. He just wanted to work with peace of mind, and he didn't want to increase his workload at all. After Gwen and Wanda dressed the woman, Yi checked the woman's brain. If there is no problem, she will probably wake up tonight or tomorrow morning. So, after Yi said this, after finishing the other party's wound treatment, they threw him in the room directly. In the evening, there was a pained look on the woman's face in this room. Big drops of sweat constantly fell down, as if they were going to soak the bed lying under him. Suddenly, the woman lying on the bed suddenly opened her eyes. General Zod. She let out a low growl, and then she found that her body was in a very strange place, and the combat uniform she was wearing was replaced by a useless protective clothing by someone. Fiora's complexion was a little ugly, but she was also extremely vigilant. What is this place? Could it be that someone tied her here? Her purpose? Right. She must find the child and complete the task assigned to her by General Zod. She pursed her lips. The pain from the wound on her body was just like an ant bite to him. It was nothing at all. She took off the useless clothes on her body, looked at the tightly wrapped bandages, raised her hand, and tore them all off. She wanted to find her battle suit, but she couldn't find it after searching for a long time, so she could only put on the suit that had no protective effect again. She went into the living room. All seemed quiet. Fiora originally raised her foot and wanted to walk towards the door, or leave directly through the window, but she suddenly heard the sound of breathing, and the sound of breathing was very soft, but her ears were extraordinarily sharp, and all of a sudden it was discovered that besides her, there were several other people in the room. She walked to the door of White's room. The doorknob was unscrewed by her at once, and she walked in quietly, adapting to the darkness, which allowed her to see the situation in the room clearly. There were 3 people lying on that bed, with a man in the middle and 2 very beautiful women beside them. Are these 3 people the ones who kidnapped her? What are they trying to do to her? Fiora's eyes gradually became fierce. At the same time, he was full of killing intent towards these 3 people. She stretched out her hand and slowly walked in the direction of the 3 of them. But before they got close, suddenly a woman on the outermost side climbed up from the bed and shot at her directly. The other woman was leaning against the man's arms, sitting on the bed and watching her quietly. Damn, I got scammed. Fiora trembled with anger. These cunning fellows. If she had known this would happen, she should have escaped first, instead of fighting with these 3 people. Sure enough, the person who kidnapped her was not simple at all. Looks like we saved a white-eyed wolf. Gwen yawned and nestled in Yi's arms. Chen Nuo's slept comfortably, but did not expect such a thing to happen. It is really uncomfortable. Only a loud bang was heard. Fiora was directly grabbed by the neck by Wanda and pressed against the wall. Wanda's eyes glowed red. The force she used with her fingers grew stronger and stronger. There was no trace of fear in Fiora's eyes. She grabbed Wanda's arm and exerted a sudden force, only to hear a click. Wanda's hand was pinched directly by the other party. Fiora fell to the ground and escaped from the room on a wheel. Wanda snapped back her broken hand with a blank expression. She chased a few steps out of the room, then stopped, turned her head and said directly to Gwen Sui, who was sitting quietly on the bed, "You 2 go on sleeping. I will be back soon. Don't worry, this guy I can bring it back." After saying this, the elder quickly chased him out. 258. Wanda's anger. I'm your savior. Why do you have to chase them out? Wouldn't it be better to just let the other party go? Gwen simply couldn't understand what Wanda was thinking. Maybe Wanda thinks it's a very dangerous thing to let her out. After all, that woman doesn't seem like a good guy. He completely engraved the words "I am a villain" on his face. Really interesting. Obviously seeing that the other party is not bad, how can he be a bad guy? Gwen said to herself, but she didn't expect Yi's answer at all, but quickly added, look, people still can't just look at the face. Seeing Gwen's appearance, Yi thought it was very funny, so he really laughed too, and he hugged Gwen in his arms. Okay, let Wanda do the next thing, go to bed early and get up early, and have to go to work tomorrow. Gwen curled her lips, really unable to understand why Yi likes going to work and getting off work on time so much. Obviously he is already so strong, obviously he doesn't need to do anything, and he is not short of money at all. Obviously, the world has changed. Although 753 thought so in his heart, Gwen just kissed Yi's face, and yawned again by the way. Okay, then go on to sleep. After saying this, she and Su-yi lay back on the bed again, and soon fell asleep to the doctor. Early the next morning, they walked into the living room and saw Wanda and the woman who had tried to sneak up on them that night. The woman was tied up, and Wanda sat across from her with her legs crossed. When she saw Gwen and Su-yi coming out, Wanda said, "Hello, good morning, I have prepared breakfast for you, and it is on the table. You can go and eat." "When did you come back?" Gwen looked at Wanda curiously. Wanda glanced at the time. "Not more than half an hour. This guy is very good at running away." "Then what about her identity? Has it been found out?" "His mouth is very hard, and he refuses to say anything." Wanda was a little angry, but she couldn't deal with a person who was obviously weaker than herself, and the other party was injured so badly, she really couldn't kill her. The worm was able to bring the opponent back, and Su-yi is looking at this woman from afar. In fact, he has already guessed her identity. "Your name is Fiora?" Maybe not the name. After all, there seem to be several translations in translation. However, he just tentatively called the other party Fiora's name, and the other party's expression was obviously not right. Fiora suddenly stared at Su-yi with wide eyes, even disbelief in her eyes. "How do you know my name?" "This is simply self-inflicted." In fact, Su-yi was just guessing. "I definitely know." Wanda took the initiative to get out of the way, and Su-yi sat lazily opposite Fiora. "Your boss is General Zod, right? You are all aliens." Fiora's face now is not only disbelief, but also horror. Su-yi smiled, and didn't care about the other party's questioning at all, and even said again, "I know you are looking for a very important thing. Is it 10 children, or is there something else on the child?" "Who the hell are you?" "How do you know this?" If it wasn't for the thing tied to her body, Fiora would have already rushed over. Although the thing on her body could easily break free, she still didn't break free. After all, that very ferocious woman obviously doesn't look simple. And it is obviously not simple to be able to stare at his man and another woman with such calm eyes. 3 versus 1, she is no match, especially now that he is still in a very weak state, especially since her battle suit is not around. For Fiora, not wearing a combat uniform is like running naked, which is unbearable. Fiora looks better than in the movie, and those eyes are extraordinarily tough. "If I were you, you can only admit defeat in this situation, instead of staring at me with such eyes." Su-yi stretched out his hand and pinched the other person's chin. "Because I like this kind of look the most. You look at me like this, which makes me very excited." Su-yi's sudden 180-degree turn on the tropic shocked all the women present. Fiora's eyes were also full of disbelief. Was she being molested just now? She is the deputy commander of General Zod. No one dares to tease her. But this kind of thing that has never happened before happens to her now. For some reason, when looking at the other party, Fiora suddenly had a very strange feeling in her heart. That feeling made her very flustered, and she vigorously shook off the hand that was pinching her chin. "Some people are not something you can flirt with casually. I will kill you, you know." "I know, wait for you to kill." Su-yi said this lightly, although she was a little moved. It was only a little bit, not enough at all. He looked up at the time. "Today is Friday and I have to go to work, so I'll leave it to you. Don't worry, DA." Wanda said this very seriously, and then snorted softly at Fiora, who was tied up. It was able to make Su-yi become interested in this world shortly after she first came to this world. She needs to evaluate this woman carefully. Fiora looked at the other party's malicious eyes and always felt creepy. Where the hell did these guys come from? She didn't want to be an enemy of these people at all. "I want to apologize for dealing with you." In order to be able to complete the task assigned to her by General Zod, no matter how upset she was, she had to bow her head and admit her mistake. "If you apologize to us, do we have to accept it? You know, you owe us your life. If we don't save you, you may just lie on that lawn and die directly." Wanda opened her mouth with a smile. Even if she is not saved, she will not die at all. Whose self-healing ability is this underestimating? Fiora wanted to spit at them like this, but Wanda seemed to know what she wanted to say. "Anyway, the thing that saved you is the fact, and the fact that you wanted to kill us is also the fact. Nothing will change, and you don't need to refute it anymore." While talking, Wanda even picked up another breakfast that she had prepared earlier, put a fork directly on the sandwich and fed it to Fiora's mouth. "Before you deal with your affairs, eat first." 259. The Reality and Nightmare of Clark Kent. Today is a busy day. Wanda captures Fiora and spends a thrilling morning. On the way to work, Su-yi ran into a middle-aged couple in a hurry. The middle-aged couple, Clark Kent's adoptive parents, looked flustered, like something really bad had happened. They are very polite. When he saw Su-yi, he greeted him. Su-yi didn't have so much curiosity. He didn't ask what happened to them, but just watched them leave from a distance. "What else do you need to ask?" "It's just that something happened to Crick," Su-yi muttered to himself. He hoped Crick Kent would not appear in front of him again today. This guy is really a very noisy guy. But his wish, apparently failed. Before he even had lunch, Crick Kent appeared in his psychological consultation room with a hurt face. "Have you been bullied?" Clark Kent has been swaying in front of them, even if Su-yi wants to pretend to be invisible. "There is no way. I've been bullied all the time. After all, I'm an alien, and I'm a monster in the eyes of you people." Crick Kent tried his best to put a smile on his face, but that smile was scarier than crying. What on earth happened? Originally Su-yi was still casually looking at the book in his hand, but now he put it down. Dad told me that human beings are always unconsciously afraid of unknown things, so he told me the identity of aliens. My parents are the nicest people in the world, and my neighbors are nice. Although I occasionally joke that I am an alien, the authenticity of this matter will only make people doubt. If I say too much, no one will believe it. I've been trying my best not to use that terrible ability. You use it, don't you? Su-yi said lightly. Use it, use it. What's so scary? What's that to worry about? I know, doctor, you never believed what I said. You probably thought I was out of my mind. I believe what you say, but it's also true that you're out of your mind. When Su-yi said this, his tone was very straightforward, and he didn't beat around the bush at all, and Crick, who was choking all of a sudden, couldn't speak. The original sadness seemed to fade away all of a sudden. Yesterday afternoon, when I was separated from you, I went to do something. A sandstorm suddenly broke out. I used my power Emperor in full view. I can't just watch my father being taken away by the sandstorm like this. I knew he didn't want me to use power because I was afraid, so he wanted to sacrifice himself. I hesitated. I was afraid, but at that time I suddenly thought of the book you gave me. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life in pain and regret, so I saved him. So you regret it? No, I don't regret it, and I'm even very grateful. His adoptive parents are good people, and he doesn't regret what he did. Although many people look at themselves, they all look like he is a monster. But he already knew what he really looked like. Sue, after reading the book you gave me last time, I had a very real nightmare. Clark Kent suddenly changed his style of painting, and suddenly said, I dreamed about the sandstorm that Dad was in this time. My mother was in great pain, and I was also in great pain. We spent the rest of our lives in regret, and my mother never blamed me until she died. That dream was so real. Now it was Su-yi's turn to be very surprised. He just gave the book to Clark Kent casually. There was no special mark on it, and it would not change anything. If he wanted to change, it would be to change Clark Kent's state of mind. But now the other party said that he had a dream. If it's just an ordinary psychiatrist, it may be that the other party is thinking about it day and night, but Su-yi doesn't think so at all. Besides dreaming about this thing, what else did you dream about? Su-yi's originally casual eyes gradually became a little more serious. He completely regards the DC universe as his own vacation world. Although he still lived a 9-to-5 life in the past, a little more workload would make him feel very unhappy. Seeking flowers. Yin-yi is absolutely unwilling to be inferior to a dog. Absolutely not. Just when Su-yi was trying to ask something more, Wanda appeared. Wanda held the food box in one hand and tied Fiora with a bandage. This scene interrupted what Clark Kent was going to say. He used a very weird look to constantly sweep back and forth on Su-yi, Wanda and Fiora. Sue, so you are so flamboyant. For a student, this simply left a very bad impression on the young mind. Well, Sue, it seems that you are very busy, so I will go back temporarily. He suddenly felt that even in the face of other people looking at him like a monster, he would not feel afraid anymore. After all, Sue didn't care about the way others looked at him like BT. He really can't compare to this. Even he couldn't help but sneak a glance at Sue, and found that his expression was really too calm. Obviously, he should play this kind of tricks a lot in normal times, but he has never encountered it. Clark Kent originally wanted to talk to Su-yi to make himself feel better. After all, Su-yi is a psychiatrist, and he did this to give Su-yi more work. After all, besides him, only Su-yi's 2 girlfriends appeared during this time. Oh, things are a little different now. Not just 2 girlfriends, but 3 girlfriends. Clark Kent left soon after. That kid just looked at me with very strange eyes. Did he misunderstand something? Wanda put the food box on Su-yi's table, then signaled Fiora to sit down on another seat, and even warned when the other party sat down. I told you not to mess around. If you mess up, I will. His fist won't let you go. You don't want to be hit again, do you? Looking at Fiora, who was obediently sitting on a seat after being threatened by Wanda, Su-yi's aides were very subtle. Since Fiora can serve as the deputy commander of General Zod, her strength is beyond doubt. 260. The Curiosity of Lois. Fiora is so terrifying that even Superman in his heyday needs to be afraid. But now such a woman is warned by Wanda, and she still looks very cute. Su-yi looked Fiora up and down, and after realizing that there were not many wounds on her body, his expression suddenly became more subtle. Sometimes things between women are really incomprehensible to him. Su-yi just cast eyes on them for a moment, then opened the food box and started eating slowly. While Su-yi was eating, Clark Kent's adoptive parents on the other side were holding his hand nervously. Clark, my child, where did you go? You must not do anything stupid. Although the adoptive parents passed Su-yi just now, they didn't see Clark Kent, who was waiting at the door of Su-yi's psychotherapy room 130. I just went to talk to Sue for a while. I will never do stupid things. Clark Kent was hugged by his adoptive mother. He patted his adoptive mother on the back lightly. I think I am doing a very right thing. I can't let my father really die in this sandstorm. No matter what happens to our family, we must stay together. Originally, He was very worried that the child would get into a dead end, but he didn't expect him to figure it out. Thinking of the psychiatrist Su-yi who moved in some time ago, the adoptive parents looked at each other, and they had to find a time to thank the doctor properly, or help him find more patients. If Su-yi knew what kind of repayment they had in mind, he would be very depressed. This kind of thank you is really unnecessary. Time flies by. This world was too peaceful for Su-yi and the others, and several years passed quickly. Gwen and Wanda are always by Su-yi's side. Even Fiora, who had been thinking of running away, gradually stayed with them at ease, and didn't try to run away or do anything else. The girl who had very tough eyes looked at Su-yi after so many years, and the way she looked at Su-yi changed subtly. Although they live under the same roof, she is not Su-yi's woman. Su, don't you like Fiora? On the first day, Wanda could feel that Su-yi was very interested in Fiora, but after a few years, Su-yi still felt the same towards her and Gwen, but when facing Fiora it seemed a bit cold when pulling. I don't like a man who might betray me at any time. It's actually very simple if he just wants someone who won't betray him. But what he wants to find is a lover, someone who can accompany him for the rest of his life. As a lover, he would not use any means to force the other party. He gave her time, but Fiora didn't grasp it. Wanda looked at Su-yi's faint expression, the corners of her lips raised slightly. She suddenly remembered the first time she and Su-yi met. At that time, because she lost her last relative, she fell into despair, and she didn't even have the idea of living. It was Su-yi who saved her. She used to be Su-yi's patient. So does Gwen. As for Fiora, sometimes I can't help but wonder, Su, do you particularly like the taboo relationship between patients and doctors? Wanda smiled. Su-dan was stunned. Why did Wanda suddenly have such an idea? He obviously likes, as long as she is a beauty, and he has absolutely no other thoughts. By the way, a reporter has been sneaking around recently. Wanda suddenly changed the subject, and then said to Su-yi, she seems to have been inquiring about the kid and Crick. You still call him a child? He looks much older than you. Hearing Wanda's address, Su-yi only found it very funny. We watched him grow up. He was still a student at that time, so he always ran this way. Looking at each other is like looking at your own child, or her and Su-yi's child. Isn't it a bit caring? I see, I will pay attention. After saying this, Su-yi watched Wanda leave. After Wanda left, Su-yi lazily continued to stay at his desk and read a book. The books of this century are similar to the books in the Marvel world, but some of the contents are extraordinarily interesting, and there are many types and complicated. Su-yi's reading has always been very complicated. At about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a sneaky figure stood at the door and looked in constantly. Su-yi had already noticed the presence of the other party, but the other party didn't come in, so he stayed where he was patiently flipping through the book in his hand. But from the corner of his eye, he was looking at the people outside the door. It was a woman, a very pretty girl. She straightened her back, hung a camera around her neck, and held a paper and pen in her hand, which is completely standard for memorization. She hesitated at the door for about 3 minutes, and finally she came in. Excuse me, sir, may I ask you something? Su-yi raised his eyes slowly, closed the book in his hand, and put it on the table. Miss Reporter, do you like black tea or plain water? At first, the woman was still very nervous, but seeing Su-yi's very gentle appearance, her heart also settled down. She has been secretly inquiring about Crick Kent, so she also knows some things around here. For example, she clearly knows that the doctor in this psychotherapy room has a very good relationship with Crick Kent. Whenever he is free, Crick Kent will come here and sit for a long time. Give me a cup of black tea. The woman spoke uncomfortably. Hearing what the other party said, Su-yi nodded at 5.0, and soon he made a cup of black tea and placed it in front of the other party. My name is Lois, and I'm a reporter for the Daily Planet. I've always wanted to find Mr. Crick Kent. I know he has a very different ability, because this ability has helped me. You like him? Louise was stunned for a moment. She shook her head in panic, and directly denied, no, I didn't like him at all. To put it in a very embarrassing way, although the other party saved her, at that moment she only had fear for the other party. When people face unknown things, even people who are obviously stronger than themselves, they will always feel fear. She is just an ordinary person, and she is the same. So, why do you have to know? 261. Fiora never gives up. Clark is a sensitive and very filial person. He just wants to live a peaceful life. Why does he have to break the peaceful life of his family as a reporter? Clark Kent always likes to come to him. He knows exactly what the other party is imagining. He didn't like the power he possessed, although he told the other party not to resist. Although with the passage of time, Clark Kent has been accepting this power and even becoming stronger constantly, but the dislike in his eyes is Uncle Ming's and cannot be concealed. Many people hope that they can become stronger and stronger, but some people are not like this. Su-yi has met many people. Some of these people are his patients, and some are people around him. Miss Lois, do you want to be famous, or is someone forcing you to inquire about these? Su-yi threw out one question after another, which only made Louise blush. She opened her mouth, and under Su-yi's aggressiveness for a while, she didn't know how to answer. Miss Lois, please think carefully before answering 10 answers. After all, everyone has to be responsible for what they say. right? Suyi's words seemed light but full of power. 1 minute passed, 2 minutes passed, 3 minutes passed. Suyi lowered her eyes and waited patiently without any urging. I'm just curious. Lois bowed her head in shame after saying this. She didn't even have the face to stay here anymore. She hurriedly stood up. I'm sorry, I know I did something wrong. I can't because of my self-curiosity, and then destroy a person's life. Lois turned around and planned to leave. However, Paul, etc. Suyi stopped Lois immediately. There was confusion on Lois's face. She didn't seem to know why Suyi called her. She grabbed the hem of her clothes, turned her head and stared at Suyi without blinking. Her heart was beating very fast. If you want to know something or inquire about something, I can tell you something, but only a little bit. Lois didn't have any hope for this trip at all, but she didn't expect that Suyi would actually call her and say that she could tell her something. Really? Didn't you tell me not to ruin Crick's peaceful life? Then why did you tell me? Wouldn't it be better to keep it secret? Lois walked back and took the seat opposite Suyi. She really didn't understand this at all. She had given up all hope for this visit. Sometimes concealment won't solve any problems. Instead, it would be better to disclose a little bit properly. And I believe that Miss Louise Lois should not be the kind of mercenary. Louise Lois is not such a person, and she just wants to satisfy her curiosity, and she will not publish in the newspaper after getting the answer. She knew how much a sensation a person with an ability different from others would cause in society, and how much impact it would have on the other person's life. Suyi was quite satisfied with Lois' attitude, so she chose some and talked to her slowly. When Suyi spoke, his tone was very gentle, and it was easy to speak directly to the other person's heart. Following Suyi's words, Louise gradually came up with some pictures in her mind. She could feel how difficult life in Crick was. If one day, Crick's identity is really exposed, I will use my pen to speak for him. I trust you, so you can come to me anytime. Suyi smiled at Lois. The conversation between the two lasted for a long time, and when Suyi was about to leave work, Suyi sent Lois away. When he just closed the door of the clinic, he turned his head and saw Crick standing not far away. Crick is a very mature man now. I knew you would get off work on the hour. Let's go, Sue, let's have a drink. Clark Kent warmly invited Suyi. Suyi did not refuse. I feel like I've failed terribly as a human being. In a bar, after Clark Kent took a big sip of beer, he snapped the beer glass and put it on the table, saying this: when I'm off work, I don't want to talk about work. Isn't it okay to complain between friends? You're not a friend. It can only be said to be a son. Suyi couldn't help laughing secretly when he thought of Wanda's description of Clark Kent. Clark Kent didn't know what Suyi was thinking. He was very sad. I thought I should be your friend for so many years, but I didn't realize that you don't think so at all. So he is really a failure in life, not even a friend. While they were drinking, a little beer girl came to their table and made a pose, as if trying to seduce them. Sue didn't look sideways. There are several beauties in the family. Seeing these vulgar fans, there is no way to make him think about it. Clark Kent didn't shy away from it at all. He teased the beer girl a few times, and left with his arms around her. Suyi shook his head. It was obviously Clark Kent who asked him to drink, but he didn't expect that he would leave first. However, he was not surprised, because the other party's appearance was obviously that 433 felt a little uncomfortable, and sometimes he might feel better if he vented. If it was working time, he might enlighten the other party. But now it is off-duty time, and he doesn't want to work overtime. I'm really kind. Suyi shook the wine glass in his hand lightly, then put the wine glass on the table with a smile. After paying the money, he turned around and walked into the night. At night, the lights were feasting, and many women on the side of the road winked at him when he passed by. Some were even very courageous and wanted to pounce on him directly because of the drunkenness, but Suyi avoided it without even moving his eyes. When he passed by a street, he saw a very familiar figure. That person is Fiora. When seeing her, Suyi's gaze sank. Looking for what? Fiora? Although there was a long distance, Suyi arrived in front of her almost quickly, without being noticed by anyone. Fiora looked at Suyi, who suddenly appeared in front of her, and was startled. No, I didn't find anything. For so many years, it's no wonder that you have been looking for a child. You are really loyal to the General Zod. When Suyi said this, she was smiling, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. 262. Where is Fiora's heart? Fiora looked at Suyi full of guilt. She's been on this planet for years, not 1 day, 2 days. In fact, she already had a vague idea of who she was looking for. That man was Crick Kent. She has already inquired several times. She even found the alien spacecraft in the warehouse of the other party's house. However, after searching for a long time, the thing I wanted to find was still missing. Where exactly is the central treasure tome? When Fiora was thinking about this, Suyi's gaze was always on her, and he never looked away. It's been a while. She pursed her lips. I'm just doing what I think is right. She can't deny that she has feelings for Suyi, but she will never give up her persistence for so long. Suyi stood face to face with Fiora. He could feel the firmness and no regret deep in the other party's heart, but at the same time, there was also a little hesitation. Do you want to go for a walk together? Suyi's complexion suddenly changed a little. It looked a bit gentle, completely opposite to the previous indifference. Fiora didn't even dare to breathe out. It was obvious that just now Suyi looked at her with indifferent eyes which made her a little uncomfortable, but in just a split second, his expression changed a lot. It's as if the one who showed that look just now is not Suyi at all. Good. The matter of the inquiry has been completely inquired, and the central book cannot be found for the time being. Fiora must continue to stay here. Facing the night wind, the two of them walked constantly on their way home. From time to time, Fiora turned her head to look at Suyi beside her, but Suyi's expression was very calm. She couldn't see any other emotions from that handsome face. Fiora watched and watched, but gradually it became more and more unbearable. She opened her mouth. You can scold me if you want to, or something else, just say more, but don't ignore me. When Fiora said this, there was a bit of pleading in her voice. However, Suyi didn't ignore the other party on purpose, but was thinking about some plots about this world that haven't happened yet. General Zod should be coming to this world soon. Fiora came to this world first and stayed in this world for several years. Although she seems to be out of the plot line, and although there seems to be some deviation in Clark Kent, there should be no mistakes in the general direction. That's right. After all, there is no chaos in the timeline of this world. Suyi just thought about this for a while, and then lightly discarded all the things in her mind about these things. None of this has anything to do with him. Suyi is already very powerful now. In the Marvel Universe, he collects fragments of the Phoenix Force. In his opinion, it seemed difficult to reach the peak, but he has already reached it lightly. Everything is so easy. When Suyi was thinking about General Zod and thinking about some things in the Marvel world, after recovering, he heard Fiora talking to him. There was a little bit of incomprehension in his expression. Why should I scold you? Why should I ignore you? When Suyi said this, his tone was very serious. It was not intentional at first glance. Judging from his attitude, it shows that he really didn't take what Fiora said, or even those uneasy feelings in his eyes or heart. He sent Fiora back in such a light manner, and even before Fiora entered the room, he didn't say anything else. Fiora felt like a cloud of air in front of Suyi. Gwen and Wanda, who are waiting at home, can feel this. After glancing at Gwen, Wanda took the initiative to run up to Suyi, and asked in a low voice, "Did Fiora offend you? If you're really angry, I'll drive her away." At the beginning, Wanda insisted on bringing Fiora back, because she thought that Suyi should be someone who likes this kind of person, but for so many years, although Suyi's attitude towards Fiora is not bad, she has never touching each other, it can be seen that he doesn't have any other thoughts about her. It seems that he may have misunderstood something at the beginning. In other words, Suyi liked it at the beginning, but she suddenly didn't like it as time went by. When Wanda was thinking like this, she couldn't help but speak out the thoughts in her heart. I did have a little interest in her at the beginning, but the twisted melon is not sweet. Suyi smiled slightly, but did not hide her thoughts. Sweet or not, you have to taste it to know if you don't like it. Like each other, this kind of combination will make people happy physically and mentally. If there is a little bit of dissatisfaction, or there are other more important things in mind, I don't want such a person. Suyi was very calm, and there was no displeasure in his tone. He even smiled when he looked at Wanda. Is it possible that you think that liking such a thing is something you can do by yourself? Definitely not. Wanda shook her head vigorously. Love each other and be together naturally, it will make people feel happy. On this point, Wanda agrees. In fact, the relationship between her and Gwen and Suyi may be incomprehensible in the eyes of others, but the three of them have always gotten along very happily and never had a quarrel. Also very happy. It doesn't make much difference to them to have one more person around or one less. Just be happy. Having been by Suyi's side for such a long time, she clearly knows how harsh Suyi is emotionally. Love is selfish. Since you like me, it must be the most important thing in the other party's heart, and it must be the other party's good willingness. If the other party can't do it, then I will be comprehensive. Suyi said these words lightly, and even when he said these words, his tone was a bit cold. Wanda looked at Suyi, and gradually understood. Before she left for at home, Suyi didn't object, but acquiesced, but now Suyi doesn't seem to care about Fiora's going. Wanda thought about it seriously, as if it was time to let the other party go. Originally thought that Fiora would make trouble in this world, or do something that would endanger the neighbors around her. But for such a long time, he has observed that the other party seems to have done nothing very harmful. That being the case, then there is no need to look any further. Wanda left after talking to Suyi. She walked directly towards Fiora's room, raised her hand and knocked on the door. 263. General Zod leads the people out of the phantom space. Fiora looked at Wanda. When the door was knocked, Fiora's face clearly had a hint of anticipation. She originally thought it would be Suyi, but she didn't expect that it wasn't at all. What are you doing here? Even after many years, Fiora is still somewhat dissatisfied with Wanda. After all, this guy pressed himself to the ground and hit him, almost smashing his head. This guy is a violent woman. Fiora didn't think about it at all. In fact, she herself was not qualified to say such things at all, because she was also a violent woman. We have taken you in for a long time. We kept you for some reason before, but now you should leave." Wanda didn't know what the word beating around the bush meant, so she spoke directly. This made Fora's complexion immediately sink, and her fingers firmly penetrated into her palm. "It's Sue who wants to drive me away, right?" "Not really, it's the conclusion we reached after discussion. We have no obligation to take care of you. I believe that you have been guarded by us all these years and you are already very tired. We all know that you seem to be looking for something, and now you can leave, then you can be more unscrupulous to find what you want. So don't you still have any dissatisfaction?" Fora felt so dissatisfied that she didn't want to leave at all. But she also didn't want to get entangled here and embarrass herself too much. She pursed her lips hard. "In this room, there are very few things that belong to her. I'm leaving now." She only took away her battlesuit, put it on again, and then hesitated for a while. Seeing that the people in the other room hadn't come out yet, they stepped on their feet and left directly. It wasn't long before she entered the house, but in the end she was walking alone in the night. She didn't know where she should go. She was at a loss for the first time. At the beginning, she only wanted to find something wholeheartedly, and every cell was clamoring for what she should do. But now she clearly knows who the thing is on, and she should go to Crick. But as long as she thinks about what kind of attitude Soo-yi will have if she hurts the other party, she can't do it. "Fora, how can you be so kind? This kind of thing is absolutely not allowed." After doing some construction in her heart, Fora's expression became firm again. Originally, she was still thinking about hesitation, whether what she did was right or wrong, whether what she did would cause Soo-yi's dissatisfaction, but now that she has been kicked out, some things are no longer good for hesitation. She has to get the job done. Thinking like this, she quickly walked towards Clark Kent. Not long after Fora left, Gwen prepared a cup of tea for Soo-yi and brought it into the house. When she saw Soo-yi, there was a little bit of confusion in her expression. Why didn't Fora be sent away in the past? But at this point in time, Gwen did not understand. She felt that Soo-yi did this on purpose. After all, in the past, Wanda and she have mentioned it many times, but Soo-yi didn't say a word, and even directly said that they would not drive each other out for the time being. Gwen and Wanda might have let Ola go as early as the first year if it wasn't for their attitude. "Because the time is coming soon." Soo-yi licked her dry lips and smiled slightly. The curvature of the corners of the lips also rose because of this smile, which seemed very pleasant. "The time is coming soon? When is the time coming soon?" Gwen felt that she couldn't understand what Soo-yi said more and more. Soo-yi took the tea and took a sip. When the bitterness of the tea spread on the tip of his tongue, his expression gradually became a little different. This Fora is not very simple. She is obviously not weak, but every time she is suppressed and beaten by Wanda, she is hiding her true strength. Although there is also an attitude that Wanda has no real hands at all, that woman has been pretending all the time, so I will play a scene with her. When Soo-yi said this, the joy in his tone seemed to become more and more intense. He has always been very clear that Fora never gave up on the mission. And Gwen and Wanda also more or less know what Fora's mission is. It seems to be aimed at Clark Kent. Although they may not know it at the beginning, as time goes by, they can also feel it a little bit. "Is there anything wrong with that Clark kid?" There was a little concern in Gwen's eyes. "No, this is Clark's growth line. If something goes wrong, then we will appear in front of him as if we were okay." Soo-yi found it interesting to think how surprised Clark Kent would look at them. Soo-yi here just drove Fiona out, while General Zod on the other side received Fiona's message. "General, I haven't received any news from the deputy commander before, but now I finally got in touch." A soldier's tone was particularly excited. Although General Zod seemed to be very calm, he was actually very excited. "What did the message she sent say?" "She has found the child back then, and she has marked the specific address." Originally, a group of them thought it would take more time, but they didn't expect that everything went smoothly. These people have been exiled in phantom space for a long time. Since planet Krypton exploded, they, led by General Zod, have been obsessed with reshaping Krypton. "Since we have found it, then that thing must have already disappeared, so let's set off immediately." In order to prevent accidents, they must go all out to support Fora. Although they felt that Fora was looking for things fast enough, they didn't forget that Fora hadn't contacted them for a long time after leaving the phantom space, and there must have been a lot of problems on that planet. Accidents must not happen. Everyone is thinking this way in their hearts. Among these people, none is more excited than General Zod. He is the most obsessed person among these people. Fora did a really good job this time. If he can reshape Krypton, he will definitely give Fora a very good position. 264. Two creeks appearing in the same space. That night, after Fora left, Soo-yi and his party didn't feel any discomfort. She left as if she had never been there. But is it really like it never happened? Wanda doesn't think so, because when she prepares breakfast in the morning, she always subconsciously makes an extra serving. She felt that it was difficult for her to adapt to being without one person in a short time, but when she looked up at Soo-yi, he really didn't care. Sure enough, women and men are different in some aspects. At least she wasn't thorough enough to let go. "Today is the weekend off. Sue, what are you going to do?" The rare vacation is very different from Soo-yi's 9-to-5 life. On weekdays, Soo-yi always reads some books at home, or goes shopping in other places, and occasionally takes them with her. The world of three makes them always feel very different. I want to go to a painting exhibition, Su-yi said lightly. Hearing Su-yi say this, others were very surprised. When was it decided? I had never heard Su-yi talk about such a thing before. A temporary decision. When Su-yi said this, it seemed as if he had thought of a very interesting topic. He just paused for a moment, and then continued to speak, in a certain way. I went to meet someone specially. She is my patient. Patient? Gwen and Wanda looked at each other. They didn't know what kind of patient Su-yi had in this regard. And this patient actually needs her to come for a checkup. And is it related to the art exhibition? No matter how you look at it, it doesn't look right. Thinking about it this way, they couldn't help becoming very interested in it. They really wanted to know who the identity of this patient was. Why did Su-yi show such a happy mood? The people who participated in the art exhibition were from the upper class, and they were usually well dressed. Su-yi, Wanda and Gwen are no exception. They quickly dressed themselves up, and then drove to the largest art exhibition in the city. Standing at the door, Su-yi quickly handed over the tickets in his hands, and at the same time, they were also invited in very respectfully. The paintings hanging on the white walls are rich in color, and it is impossible to see why. I may not have any ability in this regard, Wanda complained to herself. Gwen smiled at the side. I also can't understand these lines. What do these colors mean? She had just walked all the way, but she saw many people praising the artist's ability. She thought she had heard something wrong, but in the end she could only prove that she didn't understand it all. Yes, she just doesn't get it. Su-yi at the moment is watching in front of the white canvas, with a very interested smile in his eyes. Wanda and Gwen went up. Su-yi smiled and asked her question at the right time. What do you see in this painting? Isn't it just a white painting, with the addition of a few colors? What can be seen? I really don't understand it very well. Wanda spoke dryly. However, Su-yi smiled. Each painting represents what kind of state the artist was in when he was painting this painting. From this painting, it can be seen that the artist loves life. And this painting it also represents life. It is a very good painting. Gwen and Wanda looked at each other for a while. They really didn't see anything from the painting. Su-yi, didn't you say you wanted to find your own patient here? Why haven't you seen it yet? Could it be that the owner of this painting is actually the patient you specially found this time? Definitely not. My patients rarely come back and forth. Just a few. The small town where Su-yi lives seems to be shying away from medical treatment. They don't like to see a psychiatrist. So Su-yi has always had very few patients, which made his life very peaceful and satisfying. Mr. Su-yi, I didn't expect to meet you here. What a coincidence. Lois walked over wearing a pink dress, and when she saw Su-yi, her eyes were full of surprise. She really didn't think that she just came here to interview the painter, but she would meet Su-yi. Originally, there was a very important matter that she wanted to talk to Su-yi. But since the other party had already appeared, she would tell him right away. Looking for flowers. It can be regarded as a repayment for Su-yi to provide himself with some news during this time. Su-yi is really amazing and always gives her some incredible news. These news have nothing to do with Crick Kent, so when she followed these news, she didn't feel any psychological uneasiness. What news do you want to give me? Because of what you told me, I have paid a lot of attention to Crick Kent, and I also know that there seems to be something wrong with him. Having said that, Lois's face instantly became serious. This is not a good place to talk. Can we talk in another place? Lois motioned Su-yi to follow her to the direction of the balcony. When Gwen and Wanda followed up consciously, Lois looked a little hesitant. The two of them are my girlfriends. Don't worry, they can talk about things I can know. When saying these words, Su-yi's expression was very calm. He lived in this small town. Except for Crick Kent, many of the neighbors around him could not understand the lives of the three of them. But gradually, because they did not hinder anyone, they got used to it. Until now, they were even able to take the initiative to tease Su-yi's lust. As expected of a well-informed reporter, Lois was a little stunned at first, but soon she didn't care too much, and told Su-yi what she found when she left with Su-yi and went to the balcony. Come out. At the same time, she also took out her camera, and motioned to Su-yi to take a look while talking. Su-yi originally had a calm expression, but when flipping through the photos one by one, her expression was subtle and also slightly weird. There's something wrong with your expression. Is something wrong? Gwen asked. Su-yi simply passed the photo in his hand to Gwen and Wanda. The faces of Gwen and Wanda obviously changed very quickly. What's going on? Why are the two Greeks? It stands to reason that it is simply impossible for two identical people to exist in the same space. But the two Cricks in this photo are obviously the same soul. 265. Moving to Gotham City. Su-yi and his group pinched the photo and didn't speak for a long time. Although I don't know exactly what happened. The appearance of two Clark Kents is not easy no matter how you look at it. This situation looks a little bad. Shouldn't we go to Clark right away? I have to find it. If this matter hadn't happened in front of him, Su-yi could act as if he hadn't discovered anything. But since he had already discovered it, he should naturally take it seriously. But at the moment, Clark Kent, who was worried by Su-yi and his group, appeared in Gotham City. The night sky here is gloomy, and eerie buildings stand tall. Clark Kent had heard of this place, and even, it wasn't very far from the city where he lived. But he never thought he would be here. He knew that this was a very dangerous place. 90 things. This is very different from his city. This is the city with the highest crime rate in the country. You must go here. Apostrophe. The person who looks exactly like himself and claims to be his future brought him here. But what exactly they came here for, the other party didn't disclose at all. Really bad. Maybe it's a trick against myself. I didn't think so before, but at the moment Clark Kent thinks about it more and more. It would be great if Sue was here. He will definitely have a very good solution for Sue who lives near his home. He is full of trust. Maybe the other party is a psychiatrist, and even if the other party sees through something, he will never say it, which makes him feel very at ease. Clark Kent thought so, but now that he is in the dangerous Gotham City, there is always a bit of uneasiness here. He always felt that when he was standing on the street, the people who walked by him seemed to tear him apart, which made people feel uneasy, which was really terrible. Because he didn't know what he was going to do next, he could only find a hotel to stay. And at the moment, Gozong's creepy look rushed up from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head again. Are you done? Clark Kent tapped the table. The girl who was still staring at him with scrutiny eyes blew a bubble of gum out of her mouth, and casually threw a key on the table. 21 rooms for $200 a night. As he spoke, he lowered his head and never looked at Clark Kent again. What an awful place. After Clark Kent groaned in his heart, he took the key and went to find a place to live by himself. When Clark Kent was tricked into going to Gotham City, Soo, Gwen and Wanda also started to pack their bags. The nearby neighbors looked at the few people packing their luggage with puzzled faces. They have lived here for a long time. Why are they about to move out suddenly? I haven't had any business here for several years, and I have been living on my laurels. I feel that I have to work hard. Soo didn't tell the real reason, but these words immediately opened up what these neighbors hadn't had time to say before, and they were too embarrassed to say it. Actually, I really wanted to say it before. Sue, you really don't make money by opening the psychological consultation room in this small town. Haha, I often think, you open a psychological consultation room, and you don't see many people except that kid Crick who runs to your place every day. It is estimated that you have paid you less over the years. Neighbors are very enthusiastic. Sue kept smiling. In fact, these neighbors don't have to worry about him starving to death at all, because he has so much money that it will take hundreds of years to use up. But there is no need to say such things. You're going to the big city this time. The business will definitely be very good. It's a big city. Soo replied with a smile. Gotham City is indeed a very large and lively city. Trust him, Gwen and Wanda, to have a great time in Gotham. But it should be busy too. Soo is very looking forward to his future living place, but his working hours will never change because of this. After happily deciding the direction of the next life, they left quickly. For some people, they wish they could leave Gotham City immediately, but for some people who don't follow the rules, Gotham City is simply a paradise. And among these unruly people, some messages are passed very quickly. Recently, a psychiatric clinic opened at a downtown location. Are you crazy? FKU. Anyone who dares to open a psychological consultation room in this place is obviously not easy. Find someone to test it out. Let me go. People who open psychological consultation rooms must have a lot of money. I just happened to be short of money recently. Less than a day after Soo and the others landed in Gotham City, news about them was already spreading. Every corner of Gotham City knows that there is a psychiatrist living here. They laughed. Haha, the psychiatrist actually came here. Could it be that he thinks that we are mentally ill? Isn't it just a disease of the brain? Haha, these people don't think that being mentally ill is a bad word. Not only these people knew about the appearance of a psychiatrist, but even Clark Kent, who had already stayed in the hotel in Gotham City for several days, knew about it. When he heard the word psychiatrist, the appearance of Soo appeared in his brain almost uncontrollably. It can't really be him, although he didn't want such a thing to happen. There was already a voice in his mind telling him that it was Soo. Except for Soo, there is no other possibility. 0.7. But the voice in his heart told him this way, but he was unwilling to believe it anyway, so he also moved to take a look at the moment, thinking that if I went to see it with my own eyes, the situation should be different. When everyone in Gotham City was buzzing because of Soo's arrival, Wanda stood in front of the window of their new home, with a subtle expression. The city seemed extraordinarily noisy. Wanda has never seen such a bustling city. Moreover, walking on the street during the day, she felt as if she was being stared at by countless pairs of malicious eyes. This kind of feeling makes people feel a little uncomfortable, and at the same time, it also makes people feel very disliked. 266. Diana's beauty makes me lost. Gwen, what do you think of this city? Wanda is so uncomfortable, she doesn't even like it. She doesn't know what Gwen thinks about this. She wants to get a little sense of approval from her good sister. Maybe it will be a little different in this way. I don't know. Since Soo decided to come here, then there must be something worth coming here. When Soo made the decision, they didn't have any objection because they trusted Soo. They were uncomfortable, but Soo adapted well. Even Every time someone deliberately came to his consulting room to find fault, it made him very happy. Some of these people who come to find trouble are very strong, but some people are extremely weak. They are obviously weak, but they still insist on coming to make trouble. These people are so cute. However, the people who come to the door are not just looking for faults, there are also some other reasons. For example, Crick, who is surprised why he is here. For example, a woman named Diana Prince. When these 13 women appeared in his psychological consultation room, Yi held the book in his hand and did not respond for a long time. Just because this woman is so beautiful. Her beauty can make even the cruelest person in the world melt the ice in his heart. Are you dissatisfied with something? Yi can feel the beating of losing his mind. He is not unfamiliar with this kind of beating. All this is actually understandable, because he had a heart-wrenching feeling for the woman in front of him. A woman who is so beautiful that she can make all the scenery around her lose color. She really deserves to be called a beautiful existence like a god of beauty. I just don't know why this Amazonian princess is here. I've always been pampered by the people around me, which actually puts me under a lot of pressure. Originally, Yi thought that Diana Prince just came to visit casually, but she didn't expect that Diana Prince really came to see a psychiatrist. What a surprise. Thinking so, Yi didn't interrupt the other party, but handed him a glass of juice. Diana Prince froze for a moment. Thank you. I really like this sweet and sour juice. Please explain as soon as possible. Yi glanced at the time. It was already past 4 o'clock. It was really not a coincidence that the beauty came, and it was the time when he was about to get off work. Although she is a beauty, no matter who she is, she can't delay the time of work. Diana Prince was stunned again. Yi smiled. I leave work at 5 o'clock. Diana Prince came here today, just walked in by accident, but did not expect the other party to tell her that there was not enough time, and hoped that she could finish all the things explained before she got off work. She didn't feel offended or angry, but rather novel. Because of her beauty, she always receives a lot of preferential treatment. When she came in, she clearly felt that the other party lost his mind a little because of her appearance, but only slightly. Don't worry, I don't have a lot to say, I just came here and suddenly wanted to say something. Diana Prince smiled, and then slowly spoke about her family. From Yi's point of view, Diana Prince's life is happy. She suddenly spoke like this, a little Versailles, commonly known as full, idle, or cranky. Gotham City is a very chaotic place. Why are you here? When Yi asked, her voice was light, and it seemed that she was just asking the question out of curiosity, without any other meaning. Diana was not too offended by the other party's indifferent attitude. If the other party talks to herself in a serious manner, she doesn't want to talk about it. I was invited by a friend. She said this is a very beautiful place. Maybe we have different interpretations of the word beautiful. When Diana said this, her tone was a little subtle. She probably felt bad about talking about her friend behind her back, so she closed her mouth after hesitation for a while and said nothing. It's getting late, and it's time for me to leave. Diana stood up. When she came here, she didn't stay for too long, at most 20 minutes. Originally, she planned to leave directly, but after hesitation for a while, she took out some money and put it in front of Yi. Yi did not refuse, glanced at the money, and then watched Diana leave. This is the location of the city center and the most prosperous location. Even if there is a little movement outside, it can be heard clearly. He clearly knew how happy Gotham City was at the moment Diana appeared. If it's just an ordinary person, then it really makes people can't help worrying. But the other party is not an ordinary person, so when Yi saw that it was still a while before he got off work, he directly looked back and continued to read the unfinished book in his hand look through. When the time was right, he closed the door. Hi, Doctor. Just after leaving the door, a few people dressed as hooligans gathered directly, and by looking at them, one could tell how malicious they were. There was no trace of panic in Yi's expression. Not only was there no panic, he even extended his hand to greet them with a smile. 387, good afternoon. Doctor, I heard that you drove away many of our companions. You are really arrogant. If I wasn't arrogant enough, I wouldn't be opening a psychiatric clinic in Gotham City. The smile on Yi's face was obviously deeper than the previous ones, which also made the people dressed as hooligans on the opposite side even more displeased. Brothers, give it to me. Since there was nothing Yi could do in terms of speaking, those few people simply stopped talking, greeted their companions, and then rushed towards Yi. As a result, he didn't even touch a piece of Yi's clothes, and all of them fell to the ground. Yi looked at these people who were lying on the ground in a state of embarrassment and didn't say a word. He raised his foot and stepped on them. Gotham City is really a polarized place. Ordinary people without abilities actually found me on the head. He just said such a sentence slightly, and then left. Those hooligans yelled on the ground. They didn't know what happened. They only knew what Yi did. At the beginning, the people who found fault were all ordinary human beings, because they were very interested in the money on Yi's body, and they didn't think there was any problem with stealing money at all, but the only thing they didn't expect was that this time we'll kick the iron plate. 267. Gotham City is a dangerous place. Soo-yi and even the two women beside Soo-yi are not something they can provoke at all. They came to this conclusion after a week had passed and everything stabilized. These are the ones who come out carelessly to find faults directly, and there are also those who go to Soo-yi's consulting room to observe openly or secretly, or those who want to do something by visiting the doctor. Definitely the final result is that they did nothing. Soo-yi was always smiling, and it seemed that there was no impatience in her expression. Instead, every time they appeared, they entertained each other, always felt like they were a joke. Soo-yi's life in Gotham City is colorful and enjoyable, and Diana has become his regular patient. From time to time, she would come to talk about some trivial things, talk about her friends, talk about her family. No matter how much Soo-yi sneered in her heart, she always smiled on her face, never feeling dissatisfied. This made Diana very happy. Every time she put down part of the money before leaving get off work, and then left happily. A psychiatrist is a place where other people can relax, and Soo-yi doesn't think there is anything wrong with the other party coming to see her every day. At least Diana's pretty face is really pretty. It is very different from Diana, who talks a lot. Sometimes he even looks forward to the faint arrival of the other party. Gwen and Wanda soon found out that Soo-yi had an extra patient named Diana. They have also met each other several times, and their beauty made them lose their minds as women. I never thought there would be such a beautiful woman in this world. It's really incredible. That's the appearance of a goddess. The gods really love her very much. Even back home, Gwen and Wanda couldn't help sighing. Even if such a beautiful appearance is placed at home every day, it can still eat several mouthfuls of food. Recently you've been wandering around Gotham City. Are you used to this city? There are very powerful people in this city, but those people will not attack us at all, but those ordinary people who are overwhelmed. Since they want to live in this city, Gwen and Wanda naturally also need to understand various aspects of Gotham City. But Sue, why did you choose to live in this city? Is it because of Crick? Wanda sat beside Sue and asked softly, but she felt that this was the reason. And Soo-yi will choose to live in this place, definitely not because of this reason, but because he discovered that this world is not caused by timeline and space distortion, but the DC world is completely integrated. It is indeed a bit unbelievable that there will be two Crick Kents, and it is indeed a problem on the timeline, but other than that, there is nothing unusual. It wasn't because of Crick, but it was indeed because of him, so I discovered something that I hadn't noticed before. I was too lazy before. I just wanted to live some peaceful days, and I didn't pay attention to other things at all, so I found out so late that this is a new world integrated with the DC world. Gotham is a very interesting place, and I'm sure you'll realize that after you've been around for a long time. Soo-yi smiled, but Wanda and Gwen had been here for a while, and they still didn't feel any joy. Fiora is also in the city. Wanda told Soo-yi about her latest discovery. I don't know why she came here. Was it for Crick, or did she come here because she knew we were here? While saying these words, she secretly looked at Soo-yi, and wondered if Soo-yi had other thoughts about Fiora now. However, when Soo-yi heard Wanda talking about Fiora, his expression didn't change at all, as if he was listening to a stranger. It seemed that Soo-yi really had no extra thoughts about Fiora. So now that we're in Gotham City, what are we going to do? Gwen asked him as well. She believed that she would not come here for no reason. There must be some mission. Wait, even if we don't do anything, some things will come to us. Therefore, Soo-yi didn't mean to take the initiative to find trouble. For Soo-yi's slackness, Gwen and Wanda have already seen it clearly. Hearing Soo-yi's answer, they didn't feel any surprise. They looked at each other, then shrugged their shoulders. During the time they stayed in Gotham City, many things happened. The first is the parade. Then there is the cyber crusade against Gotham City. Ordinary people are deeply disturbed by it and are already very dissatisfied. They have been calling on the government to take it seriously and call on the police to take action. However, the police officers pretended not to know anything and continued to live their lives, while the government did not speak at all. In their view, Gotham City has long been a place outside the law, and some people who have nothing to do with them even laughed. Gotham City is the most dangerous place in the world. Didn't you already know this kind of thing? Since you can't survive why don't you just move out? It's really funny. If the government wanted to manage it, would it have already managed it? There is simply no way to manage it, so it has never been done. You said that if the military is dispatched, will those criminals in Gotham City be wiped out directly? Haha, it's possible. It's not possible, it's certain. If it wasn't for this reason, Gotham City would have been controlled long ago. Because the matter has nothing to do with me, the rhetoric on the internet is unscrupulous, almost all in a mocking tone. There is no other thoughts of the king. Soo-yi would also see it when he was watching the news or sometimes swiping his phone, for which he just raised his eyebrows and didn't have much other thoughts at all. There is such a strange existence in Gotham. Even Wanda and Gwen don't understand it. Why would the government or anyone else allow such a dangerous city to exist? If it was in their world, the police would have already been dispatched, and the country would definitely manage it. But now it's completely different from what they thought. Even if this world also has a place called Magnesium Country, and even the way it operates is very similar, but the difference is still very big. It's enough to live our little life, Don't worry about the rest. There is a reason for existence, and you will know later. After saying these words, Su-yi put her arms around the two girls and went to rest. Rather than worrying about these things, she might as well sleep more. 268. Batman, Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne was born in the Wayne family, one of the 4 major families in Gotham City. He is very good, but also seen as the brains of the Justice League, because he can always predict how the enemy will attack, and he can always defeat any enemy that is so powerful in the eyes of others. He is very good, but he is very unfortunate. When he was a child, gangsters killed his parents in front of his face. That scene left a very tragic mark on his heart. When he grew up, his son Damian was undoubtedly very good. Although he seldom said it, he was always proud of his son Damian. But just a few days ago, his son Damian died and was killed by criminal heretics. The pain almost buried his whole body. One negative thought after another even appeared in my mind. Why is his son dead? But others can still live well. Looking at the happy pictures of other people, he wished to destroy them immediately. I couldn't control myself, and every time those bad thoughts popped up, I was so annoyed. Why did I have such a thought? That was terrible. Bruce Wayne covered his head, unwilling to think like this, but he couldn't control his thoughts. Especially when he was alone, such negative thoughts almost surrounded his entire 293 people. He is sometimes afraid that he will really put these thoughts into action by accident. Dick Grayson put his hand on Bruce Wayne's shoulder. If Damian is still alive, he doesn't want to see you like this. Maybe we should find a way. When talking about finding a way, Dick Grayson suddenly thought of a psychiatrist who came to Gotham City recently. Maybe take Bruce Wayne to see this psychiatrist, and the conversation might be different. Dick Grayson talked to Bruce Wayne about this, but Bruce Wayne refused, and even thought it was ridiculous to go to a psychiatrist. Damian died, and I, a father, went to see a psychiatrist. What is this? Even when he said this, there was a hint of boredom in Bruce Wayne's eyes. He also knew that a psychiatrist came to Gotham City and opened the clinic in the city center. Although I don't know what kind of ability this man named Su-yi has to gain a foothold in Gotham City so easily, but these have nothing to do with him. Bruce Wayne was so resistant. Dick Grayson originally wanted to say something more, but seeing the other party's expression, he had no choice but to give up. Forget it. Since he didn't want to see a psychiatrist, he could only wait until he recovered. I believe that with Bruce Wayne's strength, he will recover soon, and there is no need to worry at all. So, during this period of time, Dick Grayson and others just looked at Bruce Wayne, telling him not to do something that he would regret, and didn't care too much about the others. On the other hand, Su-yi's business is very good. Regardless of the reason why these people came here in the first place, at least they didn't dare to make trouble after entering his family's clinic. After all, if you don't grow eyes after being taught a few lessons, then you really have a problem with your brain. As for those inquiries, Su-yi didn't care at all. Today is Monday. Had a night of messing around with Gwen and Wanda just yesterday, and I was more lazy than I used to be every day. At 9 o'clock in the morning, he yawned and wandered around in his clinic twice. A sneaky man dressed in a black robe broke in like a shady mouse. When a guest came, Su-yi took him to his consultation room. Is there any problem this gentleman wants to solve? Su-yi said in a calm tone. I know you are a psychiatrist, and it is said that you are very powerful, but I don't believe it. The man spoke unceremoniously as soon as he sat down. Hearing the other party's words, the corners of Su-yi's mouth slightly raised, not feeling angry. After all, 9 out of 10 people who came to him to see a doctor doubted his ability, and some even felt that the profession of a psychologist was useless at all. There is no need to exist at all. Since this gentleman took the initiative to come to the door, then he is holding a glimmer of hope. Whether I have the ability and whether I am worthy of trust, you can just see for yourself. Su-yi is very picky about guests. He was in the Marvel world before, but he would not even look at any guests who made him feel uncomfortable. But after arriving in this world, his tolerance seems to have increased a lot, or in his eyes, there is not much difference between picky guests and nice guests. You're right, whether you have the ability or not, as long as I see it myself, that's enough. Saying this, the very tightly wrapped man in front of him looked Su-yi up and down with very critical eyes. This psychiatrist named Su-yi looks really too thin, and there is nothing special about him except that his face is extraordinarily good looking. Did someone very important to you die? Su-yi opened his mouth slowly after observing the man across from him for a while. You see it? The eyes of the very tightly wrapped man on the opposite side showed obvious surprise. He didn't know that he was just sitting here, and besides just saying a few innocuous words, where else did he show his flaws? He was able to make the other party hit the real reason why he came here as soon as he said it. Before the man came here, he didn't believe in the ability of this psychiatrist at all, but he believed it a little bit. Both my parents died when I was young, and my beloved son also passed away a few days ago. The man directly removed his disguise, revealing a resolute face. My name is Bruce Wayne. While talking, he looked at Su-yi seriously, just wanting to know if Su-yi knew his name. Su-yi definitely knows, and is very clear. It's just that the only surprise is that Bruce Wayne actually came to see a psychiatrist, and he looked sneaky. Su-Yi's expression was very calm. After Bruce Wayne revealed his name, he had been observing Su-Yi's expression, but he didn't see anything from the other's face. You are a very emotional person, and the death of your parents and the passing of your son have hurt you a lot. 269. An invitation to the Justice League. Su-Yi was silent for a while, and then slowly opened his mouth, and continued, in this world, people are dying every day, and people are being born every day. I believe that apart from your parents and your son, you have also experienced a lot of deaths. Watching their deaths, although it is not as painful as the death of parents and sons, but I believe this is also sad for you. Bruce Wayne was silent. Su-Yi was right. He would indeed feel sad because of it, especially in this area of Gotham City. Good and bad people are mixed here. There are all kinds of people. Death happens every day, and those unpleasant things happen even more. Your son's death is not an accident, right? Su-Yi said lightly. Bruce Wayne was silent, and Su-Yi didn't need the other party's answer at all. He was very clear about Batman Bruce Wayne. Even if there was a little deviation, he was still very clear. Su-Yi just raised his eyes to look at Bruce Wayne, and then continued, I believe that you will definitely do revenge, and I also believe that you will come here to see me for psychological problems, just because you know what is justice, and no matter how sad you are, there are some things you don't want to do. You hate. Why do you feel so sad? Such abominable things will happen to you. You even want to destroy everything. If your son can come back, you can pay any price. Su-Yi opened his mouth little by little, expressing everything Bruce Wayne was thinking about. Bruce Wayne looked at Su-Yi with vigilance, and at the same time, there was a bit of panic in his heart. Is the psychiatrist really such a terrifying existence? He was able to guess his mind extremely accurately. He didn't even talk about some things with the people around him, but just thought about it in his heart. Since you are a psychiatrist, what kind of psychological advice do you have for this? Bruce Wayne's tone gradually became a little serious. If I can get my son back, I can really pay any price. It's a pity that I'm just a psychiatrist, but Mr. Bruce Wayne, for the matter of getting your son back, I believe no one can do it better than yourself. Su-Yi smiled. Although Su-Yi didn't say something very clearly, there are hidden meanings everywhere. It always makes Bruce Wayne can't stop thinking about it. He stood up, looking down at Su-Yi. Although his position seems to be a bit high, when he looked down at Su-Yi, he still felt faintly suppressed by this psychiatrist. I always feel that even if I take action now, it will not have any effect at all. Some people can give people a very powerful impression just by saying a few words. This psychiatrist is not simple at all. Bruce Wayne, who has seen many people, made such a judgment after saying something. Even the thought that was still a cloud of mist, now suddenly has another possibility. There are many ways to bring a person back from the dead. In the past, he didn't have ability. Even if he saw his relatives and friends die in front of him, he couldn't do anything. But now he is different. He has ability, wealth, and even dare to do it. Yes, my son will definitely come back. Bruce Wayne suddenly smiled. When looking at Su-Yi, he said in a very serious tone, you are a very good doctor. But just being a doctor is too talented. If you want, I can invite you to join the Justice League or ... Bruce Wayne's words were quickly interrupted by Su-Yi. I'm just a doctor, and I don't have any big ambitions. I just want to go to and from get off work on time every day, and then have a weekend. Definitely, it's better to have long-term vacations during summer and winter vacations. Su-Yi said that he was very satisfied with his work, which made Bruce Wayne stop talking about what he wanted to continue. There are so many people who want to join the Justice League, but they never thought that one day they would be picked on by others. There are many things about the Justice League, and some emergencies may happen at any time. I may not be able to fulfill your request. Bruce Wayne didn't have to force the other party to accept his own conditions. He just said these things, and stopped after being rejected by Su-Yi with almost no hesitation. Asking for flowers. After Bruce Wayne paid Su-Yi, he said another sentence. I hope to have a chance to chat with you next time, and I hope to leave some spare time for me. There is a description of my working hours outside the psychological clinic. From Monday to Friday, I go to work from 9 o'clock a.m. to 5 p.m. I don't go to work on Saturdays and Sundays. I also take vacations during the winter and summer vacations. If you usually meet, you can have a drink. But work matters are not acceptable. Su-Yi slowly clarified her working hours. He couldn't help but want to sigh. It's clearly written on the house number outside. Why some people just don't want to read it. He doesn't want to introduce it like this next time. However, the reason why he introduced it this way is originally not simple. If it weren't for the fact that the person standing in front of him was Bruce Wayne, I'm afraid he just dismissed him casually just now. Why would he talk so much to the other party? And there was one thing he wanted to ask Bruce Wayne, and he just happened to be able to answer it for himself. No, Clark Kent. You know him? This guy is my old buddy, but he has been missing for a long time, and I don't know where he went, but someone told me recently that a guy who looks like him appeared in the Gotham City. I don't know if it's him. I haven't had time to take a look. I have been grieving over the death of my son. How can I have time to investigate these things? Moreover, there are always many similar people in this world. If Crick Kent has any problems, he will definitely come to him. There is no need for him to actively look for him, so Bruce Wayne didn't pay too much attention to this matter at all. Originally, he didn't care about it, but the psychiatrist in front of him seemed to be very interested in Crick Kent's affairs. Maybe he could go and investigate next. Bruce Wayne left soon after. Suyi kept staring at the back of the other party leaving, and then slowly retracted her gaze. Not long after Bruce Wayne left, Gwen came over around noon. 270. Gwen was followed. Are you busy at work today? Seeing only Suyi when he came in, Gwen asked subconsciously. It's not very busy, just a guest came in the morning. When Suyi said this, his tone was very calm. A very interesting guest came, and also a very powerful guest. Could it be to find fault on purpose? While talking, Gwen put the prepared Chinese meal on his table for Suyi. When the arrangement was almost done, she took 2 steps back and drew a strand of blonde hair that fell on her forehead behind her ears. Often extremely powerful people don't bother to find fault, but he really came to see a doctor. His family has passed away, and he feels a little sad, but he is a pitiful person. Although Suyi said that Bruce 933 Wayne is a poor person, but his expression didn't feel like that at all. This made Gwen a little concerned. But she never asked about Suyi's work, so she accepted it as soon as she saw it, and only mentioned a little bit, and then changed the subject to talk about some things that happened between her and Wanda in Gotham City recently. Wanda and I recently made a great friend in Gotham City. When it comes to new friends, Gwen seems to have something to say, and she can't wait to spit it out. Her name is Barbara Gordon, and she is a passionate girl. She has red, dazzling hair. By the way, she is the daughter of Sheriff Gordon of Gotham City. Suyi listened carefully to what Gwen said, without any intention of interrupting the other party's continuation. It wasn't until Gwen said that her mouth was dry and she looked at Suyi anxiously. Then Suyi said slowly, "Listen to your explanation. That girl named Barbara must be a very good girl. I am very glad that you and Wanda is also able to make excellent friends in such an environment. Can we invite Barbara to our house for the holidays?" Gwen asked Suyi again. "While I'd love to just have a threesome with you and Wanda during the holidays, if you want to have Barbara over, we can spare a little time." "That's really great. I must explain this matter to Wanda and Barbara, just this weekend." For others, Suyi, Wanda and Gwen's behavior is very weird when they get along, but in this place of Gotham City, Suyi's behavior is not out of the ordinary. After all, there are many more outliers than Suyi and the others. From being unaccustomed at the beginning, Gwen and Wanda gradually discovered that Gotham City might be more suitable for them than they thought. At least there is nothing wrong with using some ability here. It would have been better if the guy wasn't following. After leaving the psychological consultation room, Gwen picked up the cleaned lunchbox and walked home. On the way, she found herself being followed. That person seemed to be very familiar with her, so when she was followed at first, she didn't notice it at all. It wasn't until she came to a very remote path that she realized something was wrong. Gwen didn't startle the snake. She didn't move until she was sure that the follower was very close to her, and she could even shoot at will. Holding the food box on his body properly, he turned over and jumped, and rushed towards the place where the opponent was hiding. Almost immediately, the appearance of a girl with short hair was revealed instantly. Fiora. As soon as Gwen saw the other person's appearance, the expression on that pretty face suddenly sank. "Why are you stalking secretly? What do you want to do? Could it be revenge?" Revenge? How could she take revenge? Fiora opened her mouth, and she knew that the other party had misunderstood her, so she pursed her lips and said seriously, "I have no other intentions, I just want to see if you are doing well." The most important thing is that she wants to see if Suyi is doing well. Ever since she knew that Suyi had moved here after Clark Kent left town for Gotham City, Ola was worried. Although it is said that among Suyi and his own ethnic group, he finally chose his own ethnic group, but his worries about Suyi have not diminished at all. "Since you don't live with us anymore, how we live has nothing to do with you. We are not the same people." Gwen withdrew her ready-to-attack gesture and stood in the area. What did Fiora really mean? Didn't she know? "It's just that I don't want to take care of it." Wanting everything. This is taking Suyi for something. It's ridiculous. Laughing coldly, Gwen didn't even look at Fiora anymore, turned around and left. "Wait a minute, don't go. I still have something very important to say." Seeing that Gwen was leaving soon, Fiora's voice became anxious involuntarily. General Zed has led a large army to the vicinity of the Earth, and is now negotiating with the leaders of various countries in the world. Fiora saw that Gwen ignored her at all, and she didn't care about it, but rushed forward and immediately killed herself this time. "Say everything you said. I know your attitude towards Clark Kent is not normal, but that person is not worthy of your treatment at all. He is like a time bomb. If you stay with him all the time, something big will happen." "Yes, tell Suyi everything I said today. I believe he will make the right decision." When Gwen heard this, she just found it extremely funny. Who would hand over his companion casually? Don't say they don't want to. Suyi will definitely be even more reluctant, and with Suyi's strength, there is no need for 3.1 to do such a thing. "Fiona, stay away from us in the future, and don't appear in front of us casually again. Because Fiora has been with them all these years, and at the same time, She has never done anything sorry for them, so Gwen's attitude is not too bad. But also because of Fiora's final choice, Gwen's attitude was rather cold. Fiora wanted to defend herself, but she couldn't say anything when she opened her mouth. It was her own choice, and she couldn't blame anyone. Just why do you regret it so much? Gwen didn't look back, and continued walking back after saying that sentence. She told Wanda about it when she got home. Wanda smiled coldly immediately. Don't worry about that woman, she has nothing to do with us now. 271. The question of Crick Kent's identity. After returning from Get Off Work, Soo-yi learned about General Zod's negotiations with leaders of various countries through Gwen and Wanda. What should I do? Will something happen to Clark? Gwen looked at Soo-yi worriedly. However, Soo-yi's expression was very calm. He took off his coat and casually handed it to Wang Yin beside him. Wanda picked up the coat, packed it away and put it aside. Gwen is okay. There is no need to worry about this matter. General Zod is indeed very powerful. Even his large army is very powerful, but they are no match for Superman Clark Kent, and they are no match for these people hiding in Gotham City. Turning the Earth directly into an existence like Krypton is completely a joke, and it is also something that cannot be done at all. Soo-yi didn't take this matter seriously at all, and the troubles were caused by people on this planet, not just a psychiatrist. Some people in Gotham City are very well informed, and they soon received definite news about the fact that aliens are about to invade the Earth. For such a very important matter, they chose to show a bad attitude, and they didn't take it to heart at all. Isn't it good to hand over that person? It's really interesting that we have encountered such a thing as aliens hitting the Earth. Even if you are stupid, you still know what's going on. The problem can be solved by handing over people. This is simply impossible. I think the aliens should also covet our Earth deeply. By the way, what's the name of the person who asked to hand it over? It's called Clark Kent. Clark Kent? For some reason, some people feel very familiar with this name, but in a short period of time, I couldn't think of where the familiarity came from. In the League of Justice. Clark Kent, isn't that Superman's name? Diana, didn't you say you met Clark Kent? It is true that I have seen it in this city, but it is too young, so it cannot be his son. And I've only seen that side, and I'm not sure if it's really him. Several people gathered around the round table to discuss. In addition to Superman, there is also a vacancy here, which is Batman Bruce Wayne. Since his son passed away, he has been very sad. Even if he is asked to come out to a meeting with him, he is unwilling. They also know about Batman Bruce Wayne's grief. But even so, they also hope that Bruce Wayne can think more about the Justice League. The League of Assassins organized several activities in this city, and many people died. Things have to be solved one by one, not in one go. Has the new psychiatrist checked in? Are there any problems? It seems to be an ability person. Diana slowly explained some things she knew to her companions in the organization. I went to see him a few times as a patient, and I even met his woman, a person named Gwen and a person named Wanda. They also seem to be ability users. Has ability tried it? Everyone's attention was on Diana. Diana shook her head slightly. They are only going to inquire about each other's identities, and they are not trying to turn against each other, so there is no reason to test them. Since there is no temptation, they will no longer be entangled in this matter. These people looked back one by one, and rediscussed things about Clark Kent. He left the Justice League before, saying that he had very important things to deal with. He didn't set a time, and there was no way to contact him. That person who looks similar to Clark may be very important to find him. Key points. We can also go to Clark's hometown to look for clues. They have always respected the privacy of their companions very much, so some things have not been checked at all, but now that the situation is urgent, maybe it is time to look for it. And I always feel that this person named General Zod seems a little familiar. It's more accurate to say that the whole thing sounds a little familiar. I always feel as if I have heard it somewhere. If this matter is connected with Clark Kent, the matter seems to be more familiar. But how is it possible? When they looked at each other, they both saw surprise and disbelief in each other's eyes. At this moment, they finally realized the seriousness of the whole matter. Find Clark Kent first. Anyway, if the whereabouts of the other party are found, then there will be traces to follow whether the things they suspect are true. The people in the Justice League are very flustered, but this area of Gotham City is still in a mess. It's a criminal's paradise. There are still many discussions about this area of Gotham City on the internet. Soo-yi likes reading these news very much, and finds it very interesting. He swiped his phone constantly, looking at those messages. The corners of his lips would rise slightly from time to time. Wanda and Gwen leaned on his shoulders from left to right, accompanying him. When they saw that they were tired, the two of them would close their eyes and take a rest for a while. They felt that Soo-yi's energy was simply extraordinary. How could he be so good at this aspect? 550. Looks like somebody's looking into Clark's business. After about 20 minutes passed, Wanda spoke slowly. From the information on these networks, they can also pull out some content they want to know. Maybe this is the meaning of the content on the Gossip Network. Kindness. What Wanda can see, what Soo-yi can't see. Touched his chin. Isn't Clark still living in the hotel? Last time, the other party sneaked up to see me. After asking the other party for a while, All of his residences were exposed. Suyi thought that tomorrow was the weekend, so maybe he could come and have a look in person. But this matter didn't seem to have much to do with him, so why did he want to see it? Even if Clark Kent is really in trouble, does he still need his protection as a grown man? He's simply not one to do these things. Thinking this way, I originally planned to go and see the other party. In an instant, the idea of looking at the other party disappeared immediately. Forget it anyway. Suyi thought so, yawned, and went to bed with the two girls. Early the next morning, instead of looking for Clark Kent, he, Wanda and Gwen wandered around Gotham City. 272, Diana and Barbara's argument. On the way they met Diana. Diana is a very beautiful woman. She just walks a little to the street. Almost everyone's eyes can't leave her. No matter who stands in front of her, it will become overshadowed. She is just too beautiful. Such beauty will not only make people feel envious and appreciated, but even make people feel jealous. At the moment Barbara was standing in front of Diana with a displeased face, as if she was talking to her. Diana's beautiful eyes showed a touch of pampering, and she didn't say anything. On the contrary, Barbara seemed a little aggressive, which made people feel bad. And when they noticed Diana and Barbara also noticed Suyi, Gwen and Wanda. The three of them are also very famous in the whole city. After all, no one dared to open a psychiatric clinic in Gotham City and in the middle of the city. No one can spend such a long time in peace and stability without even being hurt a little. Not to mention that no one can stand and walk on the street in a state of being stared at. There are still many people who are secretly watching them even now. Barbara's expression turned normal once she saw Wanda and Gwen. When they walked over, Barbara even smiled and said to Gwen and Wanda, "I have always wanted to visit you at home, but I didn't expect that Gotham City is too busy recently, and I have never been free. This is your boyfriend Suyi." "Hello, Barbara." "Hi, I'm Suyi." Looking at Barbara's stretched out hand, Suyi also stretched out her hand. Barbara seemed a little apprehensive, a little worried. Just now her state was not very good, and she didn't know if they would care. Thinking like this, so Barbara kept secretly looking at the three of Suyi. However, the three of Suyi didn't have any bad attitude. Instead, Gwen grabbed Barbara's wrist and asked, "Did something happen between you and Miss Diana?" "It's nothing, just met and talked a few words." Barbara's voice was flat, and she obviously didn't want to say anything. Since Barbara didn't want to say anything, they didn't ask any more questions. "It's just that I still care a little bit in my heart." While they were talking, Diana's eyes kept falling on Suyi. "Sue, long time no see. I was going to see you today, but your clinic is closed. Today is a rest day. If you want to have a medical diagnosis and treatment, then I can only trouble you to come back on Monday." Suyi smiled with a very calm expression. "I want to ask you about a man. His name is Clark Kent. I know you are from the same place as him. He lives in a nearby hotel, right?" Diana didn't beat around the bush either, but directly stated her purpose. This surprised Sue a little. However, Suyi was only surprised for a few seconds, and then smiled. "It seems that you have something very important to find him." Although Suyi didn't intend to intervene in this matter, but the other party had already danced in front of him, he couldn't pretend that he didn't know anything. "I heard that you lived in the town where Clark Kent lived for several years, and you have a very good relationship. Have you noticed anything very strange, or can we take you to the Justice League?" The Justice League is not accessible to ordinary people. If it wasn't for Suyi probably knew something very important. If it hadn't been for when he contacted Batman Bruce Wayne, the other party agreed. Just because they want Suyi to go, doesn't mean Suyi must go. Suyi just smiled and said to Diana, "What you think and doubt in your heart is the truth, although it looks very outrageous. Apart from some explanations, there is no other possibility, isn't it?" There is nothing wrong with saying this, but it always makes people feel uneasy. Diana took one more look at Suyi. No matter how unwilling she felt, Suyi's words seemed to have given her some information. She nodded at Suyi, and quickly chased after him, the news that the rest of the Justice League is waiting for. Even Batman Bruce Wayne at the moment, who hadn't appeared for a long time, sat at the desk with his hands on his chin, with a serious face. There was excitement in his eyes, as if he was vaguely expecting something. Ever since there was a speculation among the Justice League around them, his sense of anticipation has never disappeared. Seeing that Diana was back, he stood up almost immediately. "Did you get the news from Clark?" "I went to see the new psychiatrist, not on purpose, but just happened to meet on the way. He and Clark Kent came back from the same city. I am very sure that he must know a lot. It's just that he didn't mean to explain it to us, and we can't force the other party to tell us what he knows." Diana sat in her seat while talking. Now everyone is not assembled, only her and Bruce Wayne. "I heard you were in his consulting room, too?" Diana looked at Bruce Wayne. "Yes, he told me about Dead Man's resurrection. It's pretty outrageous to most people, but when he told me that, I believed it. He's always coming up with things that are unbelievable, but seem achievable," Diana said in a low voice. It was inevitable that she wanted to sigh, but she only sighed for a short while. Then she raised her head again, and said very seriously, "What I want to say is very important, that is, there may be two Crick Kents, or even more Crick Kents appearing in the same space. These are actually people's guesses, but so far no one has taken the initiative to raise them, and now the first person to raise them is Diana. Can you verify this? Isn't it very simple to verify? As long as we bring the Crick Kent in the hotel directly to the world of the Justice League, won't it be clear at a glance? Maybe Crick Kent just lost his memory and doesn't remember anything, and that's why it happened. Even if you really lose your memory, the traces on your body won't deceive anyone. Don't you know that? People like them who have lived for many years know the layering of age best, and they also know that they are the least able to deceive on this point. 273. Bringing Clark Kent to the Justice League. It's an incredible possibility. Bruce Wayne also believed more and more in everything Diana said. Just believe it, and verify. This matter still needs to be done by people, and it must not be done too easily. Then let's go now, go to that hotel and bring Clark Kent back. Bruce Wayne is becoming more and more unbearable now. He is in a hurry. Originally, they had agreed to hold on and not to act casually, but now where is the need to hold on? Soon. They arrived at the hotel. When the door of the hotel was opened, Clark Kent was looking out at the situation in Gotham City through the curtain of the window. The man who looked exactly like him told him that as long as he got to Gotham City, someone would find him, and it was clear what he needed to do next. But up to now, there have been many people who have been secretly following him, and even observing him secretly, but so far there is no one who came to him on his own initiative. How much longer do I have to stay here? He has been here for half a month, staying in the house without doing anything every day. After all, there are so many people who like to find fault. Gotham City is not a peaceful place. It is completely different from the town where 893 lived. Stay for a few more days, a full month. If nothing happens, then he will go back. After Clark Kent told himself this in his heart, he couldn't help but relax in his heart. At this time, he thought of Su-Yi, and he didn't know whether Yi would like to follow him back to that peaceful town. He knew that Su-Yi followed him a few days after he left the town and came to Gotham City. Although he felt that he should not have so much face to let Su-Yi come to such a chaotic place in Gotham City for himself, but they are good friends, and he can't let Su-Yi continue to stay in such a chaotic place. Too dangerous. Just as Clark Kent was lying on the bed and thinking about it, there was a sudden loud knock on the door. This is something that has never happened to Clark Kent after staying in this hotel. He turned over and got up from the bed immediately. Approaching the door, he loudly asked the people outside, "Who are you? What are you here for?" "Clark Kent, we are here to find you. I hope you can open the door and have a good discussion." There was a delicate female voice outside, and the bones of those who listened seemed to be softening. Clark Kent was a little nervous. He opened the door, and there was not only a woman standing outside the door, but also a man. That woman was very beautiful, so beautiful that it made people's hearts flutter, but the man was very serious, staring at his face, which made him tremble with fear. "Clark Kent, my name is Bruce Wayne. You can call me Diana." A man and a woman stood at the door and introduced themselves briefly. "Can I come in and talk?" Bruce Wayne asked again. Clark Kent stepped aside. He always knew that someone would come to find him, but he also felt that this might be just a deception. But now that someone really came to him, he was a little at a loss. "General Zod's people?" Bruce Wayne said it directly as soon as he opened his mouth. "General Zod? Who is that?" He never knew a general. He was just an ordinary country boy. How could he know such a person who sounded very high? Thinking of this, he shook his head very positively. "I don't know why you're asking, but I don't know any General Zod." Bruce Wayne and Diana stared at Clark Kent without blinking. His eyes were very sincere, and he didn't seem to be lying. The two, BHCC, looked at each other, and then continued to ask, "Then do you know a psychiatrist named Su-Yi?" At this moment, Crick Kent's eyes suddenly became vigilant. He pursed his lips and did not answer immediately. Instead, he asked, "Why do you ask such a question?" "Don't get me wrong, before we came to see you, we had already asked Su-Yi. He was shopping with his two girlfriends at the time. We talked for a while. Definitely, more precisely, both of us are a patient of Mr. Su-Yi." Diana smiled. He could see that when they asked about Su-Yi, Clark Kent's eyes were extra vigilant, and he also had a sense of resistance to them. Obviously, the relationship between the two should be very good. They didn't misunderstand anything. Although Clark Kent was still very vigilant towards these two people, when he heard that the two of them were actually Su-Yi's patients, he didn't have such resistance to them all of a sudden. After all, in another sense, he is also Su-Yi's patient. "You guys have talked so much about what you want to do with me. Just tell me straight up, and don't beat around the bush." The more he talked, the more disturbed and uneasy he felt. "Since you have said that, let's come directly." Bruce Wayne's eyes suddenly became much more serious. "We are members of the Justice League, and one of them is Superman Clark Kent. He and you look exactly the same. There doesn't seem to be any difference between you except for your age." Upon hearing what Bruce Wayne said, Crick Kent straightened up. "Can we continue talking in another place, or go to your place called the Justice League? I have to see evidence that Superman Clark Kent is indeed a member of yours. I will say something, and I will answer you." Crick Kent's tone was very serious. Originally, Bruce Wayne and Diana had this meaning. It's just that they felt that if they took Cricket away in the first place, he would resist, so they first went to the hotel and talked to him slowly in his room. Now that the other party has proposed it, it is naturally the best thing for them, so they have no hesitation, and even said with a relaxed tone, "Okay, now we will take you to the League of Justice." What kind of place is the Justice League? Clark Kent is also very curious about this. He is also very curious about another person who looks exactly like himself. I hope my previous questions can be answered in the League of Justice. 274. Clark identifying another person. Crick Kent followed Diana and Bruce Wayne on a trip to the Justice League. Their presence surprised the other members. It's unbelievable. Isn't it really the Crick who has been with us for so long? They surrounded Clark Kent and looked at Clark Kent from toe to head. Other than looking a little younger and looking a little less experienced, there isn't much of a difference. They are so curious about Crick Kent in front of them. You asked me a lot of questions. Even without Crick Kent saying anything, they took the initiative to put some evidence in front of him. The strongest evidence is naturally some photos and videos. Maybe you will doubt the authenticity of these photos and videos. After all, there are many things in this world that can be faked, but we believe that as Crick Kent himself, you should be able to tell these apart, right? Bruce Wayne stood at the front of everyone and asked seriously. He lowered his head slightly, looking into Crick Kent's eyes. Crick Kent took a deep breath and nodded earnestly. I also want to understand some things. If he is really me, I can tell. In the chaotic place of Gotham City, he obviously couldn't bear it, but he still stayed there for more than half a month, because this sense of curiosity has always lingered in his heart, making him always want to leave every time. It's just that there is such a bit of unwillingness in my heart. Now, he was finally able to express the answer in his heart. He was constantly flipping through the photos in his hand, and constantly watching the video. Although he was sure that he had never done the things in the video, it was undoubtedly something he would do. If there was any doubt in the past, then there is really no doubt at all now. No matter what questions the members of the Justice League asked themselves, he answered all the questions that he knew well and did not involve some dangerous questions. After answering, the members of the Justice League said that they now need a little more time to think about it. Clark Kent was quickly sent back to the hotel by the Justice League. Clark Kent, who returned to the hotel, was a little unbelievable when he thought of his trip to the Justice League today. There are still such outrageous things in this world. When he was lying on the bed, he couldn't help muttering so much. And soon, he remembered something else. Some things are very unsafe if they are kept on their own. If it is very insecure, then he must find a trustworthy person. Thinking like this, Clark Kent, who originally wanted to close his eyes and take a good rest, got up again, and at the same time immediately walked towards the center of Gotham City. He is very fast. However, when he arrived at the psychological clinic opened by Soo-Yi, he couldn't help but feel a little annoyed in his heart. After knowing Sue for so many years, why did I forget that Sue is on vacation today? Take a deep breath. Clark Kent simply picked up his mobile phone and called Soo-Yi. Soo-Yi at the moment is still shopping with the two Gwen Wandas. When Clark Kent called, he was amazed. He and Clark have known each other for a long time. During holidays, Clark knows that he is not working, so he rarely comes to him at this time. If you come to find yourself at this point in time, then there must be something very important. Soo-Yi just paused for a moment, and then quickly connected the phone. Sue, there is one thing, very important thing, I want to send it to you. As soon as the phone is connected, Clark didn't mean to beat around the bush at all, and directly expressed what he meant. Soo-Yi replied, in an hour, meet at my house. After talking about this with Clark, Soo-Yi set his sights on Gwen and Wanda. The two girls set their eyes on Soo-Yi. We have basically bought everything we want to buy, and now we can go back. Soo-Yi obviously had something very important to do, and when they knew about it, it was impossible for them to act as if they didn't know anything. Asking for flowers. My appointment time is 1 hour, now, we still have time. Soo-Yi glanced at the time, smiled and said to the two girls. The two girls also glanced at the time, then looked at each other and smiled. Then let's continue shopping. In the universe, generals and the officials of various countries on the earth can't agree on the terms no matter what. These people don't know what they are thinking. They all say that it will be fine as long as they hand over the man, but they say it in a roundabout way. Many things. How annoying. Clark Kent, as long as you hand over this man. General Zed has never seen a race with such poor communication ability. We are currently investigating the identity of that person. I told you, no need to check. That person is in Gotham City. Fiora has passed on important information. And those people who had said that they should check it out, when they heard Gotham City, the expressions on their faces became very strange one by one, and they clearly didn't want to hand over people. Really unsatisfactory to the extreme, and if they said that they were unwilling to hand over people, it would definitely be wronging them. If possible, they would like to hand over the person immediately. The reason why they have been looking for reasons to procrastinate is because Gotham City is a very special place. Even if they really want to go in and arrest people, they have to think before they do it. Very dangerous. In short, give us a little more time, and we will find a way to hand over the person to you. The officials of these countries stammered, but they could only say this sentence. I don't want to hear that you people are constantly delaying. Since you don't want to take the initiative to hand over people, then we will find them ourselves. When General Zed looked at those people in horror, he unilaterally cut off the communication without any hesitation. After cutting off the communication, he took a small spaceship and led a group of people towards the Earth. They have to find a foothold. As for where to choose the foothold, there is Fiora on the Earth to support them. These are not a problem. 275. General Zed enters Gotham City. Although Fiora has already made a choice, she is still thinking about it until now. She was really worried that Suyi would be affected. Just as she was thinking about these questions, her communication device was dialed up suddenly. At that moment, her body suddenly became stiff. Although her body was a little stiff and her brain was a little blank, she subconsciously connected immediately. Don't worry, General, I will make arrangements. After hearing the order from the other side, Fiora immediately nodded in agreement. At the same time, those messy thoughts were immediately discarded by him. Now is not the time to think about these things, but to immediately lead the general and all the clansmen to Gotham City successfully. The hunt to capture Clark Kent is about to begin. In the end, she and Suyi can only 663 become enemies. Fiora sighed in her heart, and then she had no other thoughts. With the help of Fiora, General Zed walked the streets of Gotham City with his tribe and Fiora. They were aggressive all the way. When those people who lived very arrogantly in Gotham City met their eyes, they couldn't help avoiding their eyes. General Zed and his party looked like they were not easy to provoke. They soon arrived at the hotel where Clark Kent was staying. The woman blowing bubble gum at the front desk just looked at General Zed and his party without stopping or speaking, as if it had nothing to do with her. Fiora already knew the location of the room where Clark Kent lived, so she just went to General Zed and whispered a few words in General Zed's ear, and then walked to the front to lead the way. Looks like something interesting is going to happen again. Seeing this group of people rushing into the hotel, the girl at the front desk smiled cheerfully, seeming to find it very interesting. And Clark Kent in the room looked particularly disturbed today. He walked back and forth in the room. Suddenly, the door was thrown away with a bang, almost hitting him. Crick Kent's eyes widened. He looked at the overturned door, and then at a group of menacing people standing at the door. Except for Fiora, who he knew among these people, the rest were very strange. So he could only focus on the only person he knew. Fiona, why are you here? I remember that since you left Sue's house, you have been very. 11. Aura's eyes were extraordinarily indifferent, although when Suyi was mentioned, her eyes were slightly touched, but only slightly, and soon became calm again, without any emotion. Clark Kent, we are your people, come with us. General Zed said, I believe your adoptive father and adoptive mother have told you about your identity. Same as Kryptonian. Are you here to find me? Clark Kent couldn't believe the people in front of him at all. How nasty they look. Yes, we came to you specially. Come with us. If you want to know something about your real hometown, we can tell you. Clark Kent took 2 steps back. In fact, he didn't really want to know his real hometown. And as clansmen, they didn't seem so happy to find themselves. Clark Kent always felt they had other plans. Clark Kent has always been on the sidelines. He wasn't happy because he had clansmen. It may be because he has been talking with Suyi regularly over the years, and he has his own understanding of many things. I know you didn't really come to me. What is it for you? Let's just say it. General Zed looked at Clark Kent deeply. Why do you ask that? Is it because you know something? I don't know anything. I just have a feeling. Clark Kent said. General Zed really didn't want to beat around the bush with Clark Kent. He directly grabbed him. This is not a place to talk. After finishing speaking, he brought people back to their spaceship directly. Almost instantly, the atmosphere on the spaceship was unbearable for Clark Kent. After entering this spaceship, he only took a few steps before he fell to the ground. I can't stay here, I'm going to die. Clark Kent felt his insides burn. General, the composition of the atmosphere on the Earth is different from that in the universe and on our planet. Clark has lived on the Earth for too many years, and he can't get used to it. All the people were looking at Clark Kent indifferently, and they didn't have much affection for this newly found tribe. Compared with him, what is more important is the survival of the entire ethnic group. It's really useless, it's only been a few decades, and it can't adapt to our planet. General Zed complained, with obvious dissatisfaction in his words. After saying this, he took another look at Fiora, who helped Clark Kent speak. Although Fiora's performance in front of him is not much different from the past, he still sees some problems for his subordinate who is very important to him. Fiora, after only a few years on Earth, you seem to be getting too kind. In the past, Fiora never thought about these issues. Fiora's face froze. She quickly lowered her head. I'm just thinking about the general. After all, only Clark Kent knows our purpose and what we want. She didn't dare to look up, lest she would reveal her selfishness when the other party saw it. General Zed took a serious look at Fiora again, and after confirming that there was no problem, he turned his gaze away. You are right. 5.0 inches. So he asked his subordinates to directly adjust a reception room of the spacecraft to a mode similar to that of the Earth's air. When Clark Kent stayed in this room, he was slightly relieved. He really thought he almost died just now. It turns out that this is the feeling of no air. Fiora once inquired about you, and didn't find what we wanted on the dilapidated spaceship at that time. Now that he is already in his own place, General Zod will not beat around the bush. Where is the Central Book? Central Book? What is that? Clark Kent spoke in doubt, and at the same time, he couldn't help but think of the things he had given to Suyi in his mind, but he quickly grabbed all these thoughts back. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. And join my Patreon if you want to support me, link in the description. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.